Picture this, a world of ancient cultivation and deadly secrets, where something crashes from the heavens like a blazing comet, and our mysterious masked stranger goes to investigate. Now let me introduce you to this absolute unit of a character. But what he finds at the crash site is not treasure or a weapon. It's a 3-year-old girl named Luo Yin Yu, freshly reincarnated with a system and all her powers sealed, and our masked friend is thoroughly disappointed, dangling her upside down like a rag doll. He casually asks her if she's dead, because that's apparently a normal greeting here. She takes one look at this terrifying painted face hovering inches from hers, and immediately starts screaming about ghosts and demanding to be released. But the moment she sees his expression shift, she immediately tries to backpedal with an apology. Too late though, because she faints from pure terror, and this guy just holds her there like a limp fish. So what does he do? He carries her through the frozen mountains, complaining about his bad luck the entire time. When our little protagonist finally comes to, she has absolutely no idea where she is. And that's when she notices the soldiers, a whole armored cavalry surrounding her. Not just a few soldiers either, we're talking thousands upon thousands of troops in formation. Our girl is rightfully losing her mind, because she just woke up in the middle of an entire army corps. One of the soldiers reports to the lead rider that the kid they picked up has finally woken up. And here is where it gets interesting. The deputy general of the Bai army, Yan Futong, is a woman, and our girl cannot believe it. But the real boss is our masked friend from earlier, Ye Qi, the actual general of the Bai army corps. This random creepy guy who dangled her upside down commands this entire army, and Luo Yin. But then something clicks in her scheming little 3-year-old brain. A powerful general is basically a walking goldmine of emotional reactions. So she immediately calls him daddy, and the entire army freezes in collective shock. The silence that follows is so thick you could cut it with a sword. But her system goes absolutely wild, racking up points from everyone's shock, confusion, and disbelief all at once. She realizes the system wants her to farm people's emotions for points, so she doubles down and starts clinging to Yan Futong. Yan Futong immediately passes the buck, telling the general to carry his own daughter, and honestly the audacity is incredible. Yes, he is now stuck holding this child he did not ask for, and his annoyance is radiating through the mask. Meanwhile, Luo Yinyu is absolutely thriving, calling him daddy with the most obnoxiously adorable smile you have ever seen. And this man is losing it, demanding to know who her daddy is, which only earns her more system points. She just keeps chanting it over and over, daddy, 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 like a broken record specifically designed to destroy this man's sanity. Our protagonist has figured out the exploit. Every emotional reaction equals profit, and she is fully committed to being the most irritating child alive. Yan Futong has to step in and beg the general not to manhandle a literal toddler, which tells you everything about this man's patience level. Yac flicks her right on the forehead with this menacing grin, and the power dynamic between a general and a toddler has never been this unhinged. Yan Futong is internally panicking, because apparently there are rumors that this general not only kills without mercy but eats children too. He grabs Luo Yin Yu and tells her that she reaps what she sows for running her mouth, and she should just live as a fool forever. And just like that, she realizes she literally cannot form words anymore. Whatever he did sealed her ability to speak properly. Then he just tosses her to Yan Futong like she's a sack of rice, completely done with this situation. Yan Futong catches her, but the kid is bawling her eyes out, and even this hardened warrior looks like she has no idea what to do with a crying toddler. But then they discover something genuinely horrifying on her body. 7 dark seals running down her spine like cursed acupuncture points. Yan Futong recognizes them immediately. These seals completely block the body's key circulation channels, and she's furious that someone did this to a child. Yan Futong starts connecting the dots, recalling how the general picked up this child, and her suspicion immediately turns toward him. She starts crying and accusing the general of being the one who sealed a defenseless child, which honestly is a bold move against your commanding officer. But the child is trying to speak up, and all she can manage is a garbled attempt at calling him father again. Yesi examines her more closely and identifies spiritual stabilizing nails, cursed instruments that suppress the 7 emotional spirits and prevent reincarnation. And there are 3 more on the back of her skull, spirit sealing nails that have completely cut off her chi and blood circulation. Luo Yin Yu is absolutely terrified to learn she has cursed nails embedded in the back of her head like some kind of spiritual voodoo doll. Yitzi explains that these are the 10 seals of the dragon shrine, so rare that an entire nation couldn't gather materials for even 1, let alone 10. He orders the army to halt for a break and sets the child down, but his interest in her is clearly growing, because creating these seals requires slaying an actual dragon for its bones, blood, and soul, so whoever sealed this kid considered her worth that kind of investment. And now Yisi is genuinely intrigued, wondering exactly what kind of secret is locked away inside this little girl's body. Luo Yin, you can feel his gaze burning into her, and she's thinking that this man's curiosity might be more dangerous than the seals themselves. She asks her system how to remove the seals, and it tells her she needs 200,000 points, which is absolutely insane when she's earning 1 point at a time. She sighs, wondering just how many people she'll have to annoy to grind that many emotional reaction points. But our girl is nothing if not resourceful, so she waddles right back up to Yisi and starts babbling at him again. And then she starts tearing at his robes, mocking a military general for having such cheap clothing, because apparently she has zero survival instincts. And the points start absolutely flooding in. Every annoyed twitch from Yesi is pure currency for this menace of a toddler. Until the general reaches his absolute breaking point and launches this child through the air like a catapult projectile. She lands face first in the frozen water, but even while shivering, she's thinking about how many points that outburst just earned her. The soldiers are absolutely stunned that this child survived being yeeted by the general, while Yesi himself seems almost impressed. He confirms it, this kid has an abnormal physique that weapons cannot pierce and fire cannot burn, and that means our tiny protagonist just became the most interesting puzzle this general has ever found. So after all that effort from last time, our tiny protagonist has earned a grand total of 35 points, and she's crunching the numbers on her targets, because Yan Futong barely reacts to anything, so farming her is basically pointless. The regular soldiers are even worse, 3 points max from the whole lot of them combined. She realizes this army has insane discipline, which means their emotional control is also absurdly high. But then she remembers there's one person who actually drops decent loot, that mysterious masked guy called Bayang who gives 5 or 6 points at a time. And speak of the devil, Yisi is over here cooking, and the food actually smells incredible. He sits down and hands her a bowl, and she's thinking, you know what, maybe this masked weirdo isn't so bad after all. She takes the first bite and her whole face lights up with pure joy. And then the actual flavor hits, and it is apparently the worst thing she has ever tasted in 2 lifetimes. She's absolutely devastated, but our girl pivots fast, deciding to just ask Yisi directly about removing the seals instead of grinding 200,000 points. So she toddles right up to him and starts poking him to get his attention. She hits him with the daddy card again, pointing at his face and babbling her garbled version of the word, and she's nodding so hard her entire head looks like it might detach, just going full commitment on this performance. But Yisi tells her straight up that removing each seal nail costs a decade of the remover's lifespan, so that is a hard pass. And that hits different, because she's thinking, who in their right mind would trade decades of their life for some random orphan kid? And then this man just reaches over and rips one of the cursed nails straight out of her spine with his bare hand. She is absolutely stunned, because didn't he literally just say it cost 10 years of your life, and he pulled it out like it was nothing? And now she's looking at him with the biggest, most sparkly eyes you have ever seen on a toddler. She realizes that despite all his yelling and child launching, he just sacrificed 10 years of his own life for her without even hesitating. And the system pings with Yisi feeling disgusted for plus 2 points, which is huge because he's never gone above 1 before. And then she cracks the code. This man has mysophobia. He literally cannot stand being dirty or touched by grubby hands. As night falls, she's sitting next to him thinking she genuinely stumbled onto someone incredible. A man who can casually remove dragon bone seals. She climbs right into his lap with this sweet little grin, and even he seems caught off guard for a moment. She tells him that when she makes lots of money in the future, she'll buy him nicer clothes, which is absolutely precious coming from a barefoot toddler in rags. And the system registers that Yesi's emotions have actually been stirred, which means somewhere under that mask, this man felt something genuine. Then he does something unexpected. He actually asks for her name, and she winks at him and says her name is Sweet Little Yu, delivering it with maximum cuteness energy. Yesi just stares at her with this visible question mark over his head, clearly not impressed by that answer. So she pivots and goes with Emperor Yu instead, complete with an imaginary crown and a regal pose, because go big or go home. And Yesi's entire aura shifts dark as he tells her she gets one last chance to answer properly. He moves on and asks her age, apparently deciding the name situation is a lost cause. She answers perfectly this time, 3 years old, with the most innocent smile she can manage. And that answer clearly hits him hard, because someone sealed a 3-year-old with 10 dragon bone nails worth a nation's resources. Then she flips the interrogation and asks him what his name is, still calling him dad like that's just established canon now. And Yesi just snaps, pulling out another cursed nail from her body because apparently this child has broken through his emotional firewall completely. She immediately goes back to rolling around screaming daddy at him, and the system points are probably going wild right now. But she knows her limits, thinking this masked man has a temper shorter than she is tall, and she definitely cannot win a fight against him. But before she can scheme any further, a messenger comes charging into camp on horseback with urgent news. The scout drops to his knees and reports that 20,000 enemy troops have appeared out of nowhere. And Luo Yinyu's face says it all, 20,000 enemy soldiers, and she's stuck in the middle of this with no powers and a body full of cursed nails. Yesi wastes zero time ordering his troops to move out and surround the enemy forces, and Yinyu immediately perks up at those words, because wait, move out? She immediately asks if he's bringing her along, and Yesi's response is to grab her and dangle her upside down like a wet towel. But before tossing her aside, he rips out another cursed nail from her body, and that is 3 now for anyone keeping count. He flatly tells her to stay put and launches her through the air, because apparently that is just how he handles children. And she lands directly on top of a horse that is just as traumatized by this interaction as she is. She's seeing stars, the horse is panicking, and honestly both of them deserve compensation for this. Meanwhile, Yisi hops on his own horse looking absolutely majestic and gives the order to ride out. And just like that, the entire army vanishes into the distance, leaving our girl sitting on a horse in the middle of absolutely nowhere. She's tearing up, asking if there's really nobody left to take care of her, an honestly valid reaction. But then she hears hooves approaching and spots a rider coming back toward her. And her whole mood does a complete 180, because someone actually came back for her. And the rider turns out to be this absolutely gorgeous soldier in scale armor, who looks like he belongs on a recruitment poster. Yinyu is absolutely glowing, reaching toward him and declaring she knew someone still cared about her. But the soldier just rides straight past her without stopping, and the look on her face is priceless. She realizes he's not here for her at all, but she grabs onto him anyway, screaming for him to wait. She manages to get his attention and immediately asks the real question: how many soldiers do they actually have against 20,000 enemies? 2,000. They have 2,000 troops against 20,000, and even Yinyu is questioning who exactly is surrounding who here. But does she run away? No. She tells the horse to hurry up because she wants to see how they handle a 10-to-1 disadvantage. The horse takes off at full speed, and she immediately regrets every life decision that brought her to this moment. And to make things worse, the horse is going the wrong direction, and she's screaming at it to turn around before she falls off. The horse slams on the brakes so hard she nearly goes flying again, and both of them look equally done with this whole situation. But then she actually looks at the horse properly and is completely starstruck, calling it gorgeous. And the system pings with Baiyang feeling extremely wronged for plus 10 points, which is the biggest single drop she's ever gotten. And that is when it hits her. Baiyang, the character who gives the most points in the entire system. Eventually the adrenaline wears off and she passes out asleep on the horse's back as it carries her through the night. She wakes up later in a pile of snow, arms crossed, looking like a tiny angry gremlin who has been deeply inconvenienced. She has no idea where she is. The horse is grazing in the background, and she is completely alone in enemy territory. She wanders forward and walks face first into someone's leg, and this person is absolutely massive. The soldier looks down at her and immediately asks where this fleeing refugee came from. And she's just thinking about how impossibly tall this person is. But instead of being scared, our girl stomps her tiny foot and screams that he's disgusting, because she apparently has zero survival instincts. And the horse swoops in like a four-legged getaway vehicle, snatching her up and bolting before the soldier can react. They eventually find a safe spot under a tree, with the horse lying down next to her like a giant fluffy bodyguard. But the cursed nails are still doing their work because she curls up in agony, saying it hurts. And this poor kid cannot catch a single break. And the system starts going absolutely wild. Baiyang almost swore for 5 points. Baiyang is really angry for 5 more. The notifications just keep stacking. She starts coughing up blood onto the white snow, and suddenly this isn't funny anymore. This kid is in serious danger. And through all that pain, she's thinking about how that enemy soldier kicked her way harder than Yisi ever did, which is a deeply concerning frame of reference. The system keeps pinging as Baiyang watches this unfold, shocked for 5 points, scared for 5 points. The horse is having a full emotional breakdown over her condition. But does she stay down? Absolutely not. She grabs the horse and marches forward, declaring they're going to end every last one of them. So our girl actually marched herself right up to an enemy military camp and is now telling Baiyang to keep quiet. And now she's dragging Baiyang into the camp by the reins, and the horse wants absolutely nothing to do with this plan. Because this isn't just any random outpost, this is a full enemy encampment with armored soldiers everywhere. Yinyu peeks out from behind a tent flap, and those big green eyes are doing reconnaissance right now. And she overhears the enemy generals laying out their entire strategy. They're planning to ambush Yesi's weakened 2,000 troops and take him out personally. She scrambles back into hiding, completely rattled, because they want to kill the masked man, and that means Yesi. She immediately asks the system for help, but disposing of 5,000 elite cavalry costs 50,000 points, and the collection fails instantly because she's completely broke. 5,000 elite cavalrymen, and she doesn't even have a fraction of the points needed to deal with them through the system. She's panicking because she can't just sit here and let Yisi walk into a death trap, but they're elite cavalry and she's a child with no resources. But then the light bulb goes off. They're elite cavalrymen, which means they depend entirely on their horses. And what does she find right next to the camp? A whole stable full of enemy war horses just sitting there unguarded. She drags Baiyang toward the stable, and the system immediately pings with hesitation and confusion points because this horse has no idea what she's planning. She walks right up to the enemy horses and introduces herself like she's at a networking event, just absolutely no fear in this child. And the brown horses just stare at her and Baiyang with the most unimpressed expressions possible. She cuts the ropes holding them and the horses absolutely lose it, stampeding out of the stable while she ducks for her life. And then she starts ripping hair right off a horse's tail, because her plan is to tie up their hooves so they can't ride into battle. She's standing there all proud of herself with her handful of horsehair and a whole sabotage toolkit floating around her head. She hops on Baiyang and rides out among the freed horses, looking like the world's tiniest horse whisperer leading a chaotic stampede. Now she's tying knots around the horse's hooves using the hair and scraps she collected, which is genuinely clever sabotage for a kid her size. But the horsehair snaps immediately and she's sitting there devastated, demanding stronger material while Bayang sweats nervously. The system suddenly rewards her 100 points for finding a solution on her own, and promises to handle everything at once, which sounds too good to be true. She smashes that collect button without hesitation because free points and automatic completion? Yes, please. But the system takes her 100 points right back, leaves her with 17, and starts autopiloting her body to complete the task, and she did not agree to this. Magical energy wraps around her body and she completely loses control of her own movements, which is terrifying for everyone involved. The autopilot makes her rip hair straight off Bayang's tail, and the horse screams while the system casually logs 5 more curse-related points. She's literally floating in the air now, tying boots and horsehair into bundles while her body moves on its own like a possessed crafting machine. What follows is a full montage of her ripping, and tying in a never-ending cycle of horsehoof sabotage that she cannot stop. 2 hours later, she's on her last horse, completely destroyed, and the system refuses to let her stop until every single knot is tied. She ties the very last knot, and the system finally releases her from autopilot, and this girl looks like she just ran 3 marathons back to back. The dizziness hits her immediately, and honestly, her body has been through more in the last 12 hours than most people experience in a lifetime. Her body gives out completely and she drops, thinking she's about to lose consciousness right in the middle of enemy territory. Bayang watches her soul literally start floating out of her body, and the system pings with genuine worry that the host might actually be dying right now. But Bayang grabs her by the back of her dress and lifts her up like a mama cat carrying a kitten, because this horse is not leaving her behind. And Bayang carries her away from the camp as the sun starts to rise, feeling a deep pain inside, because even a horse knows this kid deserves better than this. Our girl finally wakes up and she looks like she went through a blender and back. She sits up in an unfamiliar room and has absolutely no idea where she ended up. But then she spots a milk kettle sitting right there on the table, and suddenly location doesn't matter anymore. She grabs that thing like it's the Holy Grail, because this child has not had a proper meal in way too long. While she's chugging milk, the system pops up showing she now has over 120,000 points, mostly from Bayang's suffering. She scrolls through the log and there are names she's never seen before. People being surprised and frightened and even deserting. She's thinking, wait, who are these random people and why are they all giving me points? And then she sees Yan Futong and Yesi on the list, which means her horse sabotage actually worked and caused a whole chain reaction. She's piecing it together, wondering if a battle actually happened and if she accidentally did Yesi's army a massive favor. But then she notices something weird. She's had 2 full bowls and the kettle hasn't gotten any lighter, and she just keeps drinking until she's flat on the ground with a round belly, confirming that this kettle is indeed bottomless. She peeks over the edge and finds Bayang sleeping right there on the floor, completely knocked out from last night's adventure. She reaches over and tells Bayang he worked hard last night, which is honestly the understatement of the century. But Bayang wakes up in full panic mode, crashes into the furniture, and somehow starts an actual fire in the process. Yinyu is running after him while the overturned chair is catching fire behind them, and this is escalating way too fast. Bayan tries to stomp it out, but somehow that just makes the fire spread faster, because of course it does. And within seconds, the entire room is engulfed in flames, because nothing this girl touches stays intact for more than 5 minutes. She grabs Bayang's reins and yells at him to run, telling him she won't leave him behind even if he's going bald from last night. They burst outside and the whole building is ablaze while the system casually logs affliction points from Bayang like it's just another Tuesday. She's sprinting away, screaming for help while people start noticing there's a building on fire in their military camp. She finally stops at a safe distance and thanks every deity she can think of that she didn't get roasted alive in there. Both her and Bayang look absolutely wrecked, covered in soot and smelling like a campfire gone horribly wrong. But when she turns around, she's greeted by this gorgeous view of snow-capped mountains stretching out as far as she can see. For a moment, she just stands there taking it all in, because even in the middle of all this chaos, the scenery is breathtaking. Of course, the burning building right behind her kind of ruins the moment, but you take your peace where you can get it. She looks down and sees a whole military installation nestled in the mountains, and realizes this must be Yasai's actual army camp. Soldiers are crossing wooden bridges between the cliffs, carrying supplies and weapons through the snowy terrain. She's surrounded by armored cavalry and fortified walls, and she's thinking this is less of a camp and more of an entire fortress city. And before she can explore any further, 2 very serious-looking soldiers walk up and tell her to come with them. Not a request. They bring her to the conference hall where Vice General Yu Huji is already losing his mind about the burned cabin. Then Zhou Hong chimes in all smooth and composed, mentioning the war just ended and the troops are ready to go home for the holidays. Li Xingyuan adds that he already promised his soldiers rewards for kills, so morale is already complicated without arson incidents. All the generals are ganging up on Yasi, saying his daughter is a menace. She's too pampered and she needs to go literally anywhere else. Yan Futong snaps at everyone to shut up because she can clearly see the general is annoyed, and she is not having this disrespect. But the other generals fire back, asking how anyone can tell if the general is annoyed when he never takes off that phantom mask. Meanwhile, Yin Yu is just sitting there watching all of this unfold, and every single general's emotional reaction is feeding her points. Zhu Hong calls out her name with a sly grin, and Yin Yu realizes this one has been watching her the whole time. He asks her if she's enjoying the show, and she looks up at him, not sure whether this guy is friendly or dangerous. He smirks and says this little brat is quite intriguing, which is either a compliment or a threat, depending on context. Yu Huji steps forward dramatically, arguing that a burned cabin is a permanent scar on their honor until it's rebuilt. And Yin Yu's eyes literally light up with stars because she realizes all this drama is just a non-stop point farming opportunity. Then Yi Si himself finally speaks, looking directly at her through that phantom mask and asking if she was the one who started the fire. And this absolute menace stands up and says yes, it was her, and she'll do it again tomorrow, while her system cheers her on from the sideline. Yu Huji completely loses it and starts screaming that she's a criminal, which is honestly a fair assessment at this point. But the other two generals can barely hold it together, one of them whispering that he always knew this kid had talent. The system explodes with notifications as every single person in the room has an emotional reaction, and Yin Yu is swimming in points right now. She stands there giggling like the most innocent child alive, right in front of the most feared general in the country. Ye Si waves her off in pure disgust, tells them to give her a bath and never let this devil child near him again, which nets her 2 more points. So remember how Ye Si told them to give her a bath? Well, Bayan got the spa treatment too. The two maids, Wendong and Trishue, are scrubbing our girl down while gossiping about how the young general must have suffered out there. And Yin Yu, with zero hesitation, tells them she literally fell from the heavens like some kind of divine care package. And of course the maids are confused enough to net her 30 points, because compared to the generals, these two are basically free experience. But then she pauses and asks them something that's actually been bugging her. Why does everyone keep calling her young general? The maids light up and explain that the whole camp already knows she's General Yi's daughter, and they're convinced she'll be the next commander. Yin Yu is genuinely stunned. The masked man actually accepted her as his daughter? For real? She asks the maids what their mistress's name is, which immediately gets Chui Shui scolding the other one for daring to ask. But our girl just beams and introduces herself without a care in the world. Her name is Luo Yin Yu. The maids are loving it, gushing about how General Yi is truly amazing to have such a charming daughter. But then Wendong's brain catches up. Wait, Luo? Her surname is Luo, not Ye? She quickly tries to rationalize it, asking if maybe Luo is her mother's surname instead. And Yin Yu, without missing a single beat, cheerfully announces that General Yi got cheated on. Just like that. Both maids nearly pass out from shock, and the system absolutely feasts with 88 points from each of them. The maids desperately change the subject, babbling about how talented she must be since the general took her in personally. They start dressing her up in fancy new clothes, going on about how she clearly comes from prestige. These two are full-on fan mode. And just look at this transformation. Our girl went from soot-covered disaster to the cutest young general this army has ever seen. Turns out these aren't just any clothes. The fabric was a gift from the emperor himself to General Ye. She's wearing royalty tier drip. She steps out looking absolutely pleased with herself, ready to take on whatever this military camp has to offer. But when she finds Bayang, this horse is sitting there decked out in fancy clothing with flowers everywhere, looking like a bridal mare. She kicks him and asks since when do horses get a wardrobe, which honestly is a valid question. Then she reminds him that she took all the blame for the fire in front of every general, so the least he could do is show some gratitude. She asks him if he wants to go explore the camp with her, already bouncing with excitement. And together they head out through the doorway into the bright snowy world beyond. But the second they step outside, the mountain air hits them with the full force of winter. She turns to ask if he's coming, but Bayang is already shivering like his life depends on getting back inside. The system keeps logging that Bayang absolutely does not want to be out here, which earns her more points even as she feels a little bad for him. Luckily, Wendong shows up with a warm blanket, because even the maids can see this horse is about to become an ice sculpture. She wraps him up herself, telling him she'll keep him warm, and Bayang looks genuinely moved with those big watery eyes. And off they go, the tiniest general in history walking a horse in a winter coat through the military camp while soldiers stare in disbelief. That's when she spots someone sitting alone on the steps, looking all broody in full armor. She walks right up and asks General Yan what's on her mind, completely unbothered by the intimidating military energy. And Yan Futong immediately melts, gushing about how good the young general looks in her new outfit. Full simp mode activated, but then she gently corrects her. "Don't call me General Yan," she says. "Call me General Fu instead." Yin Yu blinks in confusion. Why not? Isn't her surname Yan? What kind of naming convention is happening here? Yan Futong just pats her on the head and says she can't explain it right now, but the name rule is non-negotiable. But after patting her head, she immediately retracts her hand in mild horror because Yin Yu's hair is an absolute bird's nest under there. She tells Yin Yu that General Ye should be in his study right now, and our girl immediately thanks General Fu by the correct name like a good student. Meanwhile, Bayang is absolutely losing it behind them, racking up 15 points worth of laughter, while Yan Futong just sits there speechless. Yin Yu shoots him a glare, wondering what this dumb horse thinks is so funny right now. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Back in his study, Yazhi is sitting there murmuring the name Lu Yin to himself. We get a glimpse of what this man is capable of. With her power alone, she once seized control of 5,000 enemy soldiers. And now he's sitting here wondering what kind of secrets this random brat is hiding. The mask makes it impossible to read what he's really feeling. And guess who just showed up peeking around the bookshelf like a little spy? Yacy already knows she's there. Without even turning around, he asks what she wants. And the chill in his voice could rival the snow outside. She asks if she's really a young general, and Yacy gives her the most unbothered answer possible. If you want to be, then you are. If not, then don't be. Then she asks if the army camp is safe, and he tells her this is the most secure place in all of Bayou. No hesitation. Her eyes absolutely sparkle as she asks the real question. Can she go explore the entire camp? Yacy doesn't even dignify that with a real response. He just tells her to leave if she's gonna keep spouting nonsense. And she takes that as a yes, flashing a peace sign and bouncing away before he can change his mind. She skips off with Byanga, absolutely delighted that the terrifying masked general is apparently just a pushover who let her become a young general. As they walk through the snowy mountain scenery, she runs the numbers. 120,000 points banked, 80,000 more to go. And then the most dangerous thought crosses her mind. If every soldier in this camp gave her just 1 point, she'd hit her target instantly. She's so close to her goal she can taste it. And now every single soldier in this camp just became a walking point farm without even knowing it. Our girl is on a mission, and she's dragging Byang along whether he likes it or not. She's got him on a leash, and this poor horse looks like he's being dragged to his own funeral in a blizzard. The second they step into the main camp area, every soldier within eyeshot swarms her like she's a celebrity at a fan meet. They're offering her grilled sweet potatoes, fighting over who gets to bring her snacks first, and the point notifications are just raining in. She's absolutely loaded with food now, munching on an apple like she owns the place, while Byang just sighs about how friendly everyone is. She waves the soldiers off, telling them to get back to work since she's just on a casual stroll, which is hilarious given that her arms are full of gifts. As she wanders deeper into camp, she starts noticing that the soldiers aren't exactly on vacation mode around here. Some are digging pits, others are hammering out weapons, and she's thinking, wait, didn't they already win the battle? Then it hits her. She remembers seeing a map in Yacy's study that showed secret pathways inside the Imperial Palace, and now she's standing there mid-bite wondering if this masked general is actually planning a full-on rebellion against the Empire. Meanwhile, Yacy has found something that requires his attention, because the wooden house they were staying in is now a pile of charcoal. He's walking through the wreckage doing the math, because Byang's fur is supposed to be fireproof, yet that horse came back looking like burnt toast. Among the debris he spots a charred bell, and the pieces of this puzzle are starting to come together. That's when he finds it. A flame still burning among the rubble, and his expression shifts immediately. No wonder the entire building was incinerated. Normal fire doesn't do that, but he knows exactly what does. We flash back to the previous night, when a servant reported that Yin Yu had fallen asleep on Byang's back, and Yacy told them to place a fire bowl nearby to keep them warm. The servant brought the fire bowl over, a simple thing filled with burning coals. Nothing unusual about it, except Yacy added a little something extra to the coals. He summoned a flame right from his palm because apparently that's just a thing he can do. He dropped it into the fire bowl and told the servant to leave, thinking he was just doing a nice thing for the kid. And now he's standing in the aftermath realizing that his own immortal flames burned the entire house down. The system pings 1 point of emotional damage because even stoic generals can feel embarrassment. Yin Yu spots him from a distance and her system confirms this isn't a glitch. The masked man really is standing here having a moment with his own wreckage, and without a single ounce of hesitation, she sprints over and tackles his legs in the most aggressive hug a child has ever delivered. Yet he looks down at this messy-haired gremlin latched onto him, and all he can manage is to call her a green sea urchin. She looks up at him with the biggest sparkling eyes and just goes, "Daddy." This girl has absolutely zero shame. She keeps nuzzling into him all happy, but her hair is generating actual static electricity from how aggressively messy it is. When she finally catches her reflection in a mirror, she realizes her hair has gone full science experiment, and she's basically a walking power generator. She just stands there in stunned silence, while Yacy observes the catastrophe that is her current hairstyle. And Bayangat, that treacherous horse, is literally rolling on the floor, wheezing at her like this is the funniest thing he's ever witnessed. She goes nuclear on him, screaming about how dare he laugh when he's the one walking around with no fur after the fire incident. The system hits her with a fat 99-point notification from Byang's emotional damage, and suddenly her rage transforms into pure delight. She turns back to Yacy, hits him with the daddy card again, and he flat out tells her he is not her father. So this absolute menace fires back with, "Then can I be your dad?" complete with a thumbs up like she just made the most reasonable proposal in history. The system confirms Yacy is emotionally compromised, pushing her total to 123,000. She's grinding points off this man's sanity. But then Yacy goes quiet and she looks up wondering what just shifted in the atmosphere. He grabs her by the collar and she immediately starts shrieking, calling him a pervert at the top of her lungs. But he pulls out a dark, ominous-looking nail and asks her if she even knows what this thing stuck in her body actually is. She's still squirming and covering herself like he's some kind of threat, and he asks why she's so terrified of him. She pouts and says she never knows when he's gonna jam one of those soul-sealing nails into her again, which honestly is a valid concern. And this is where it gets real. Yacy tells her that removing a single soul-sealing nail costs 10 years off someone's lifespan. She goes silent, genuinely processing for the first time that unlocking those nails actually burns through real years of a person's life. She starts tearing up and promises that when she grows up she'll take care of him, but Yacy drops the real bombshell. The life being consumed isn't his, it's hers. Before she can even process that, he grabs her and says, "Follow me," leaving no room for argument. He starts examining the seal markings on her body, and she's internally panicking about what this masked man is up to now. She completely loses it, screaming "old pervert" at the top of her lungs and threatening to kick him into orbit if he doesn't let go. Yacy just holds her still and says who on earth would be interested in a green sea urchin? He's only trying to look at her seal. She instantly flips from rage to cooperation, lying down obediently and asking Daddy to please hurry up and remove the rest of the nails. The system starts pinging back to back. Yacy is experiencing emotional turmoil, and for once it doesn't feel like comedy points, because Yacy tells her the truth. Her seal is the 10 seals of the Dragon Shrine, the most powerful seal in existence, and he cannot undo it. If it stays, she has 3 years left to live. Yin sits there processing the news and asks him directly if the seal really means she only has 3 years left. Yacy tells her straight up that the nail he removed was already loose, and the remaining 6 are locked in tight. She just quietly says okay, but Yacy is internally puzzling over something. Her hair reacts differently depending on her emotions, and the seal blocks him from reading her at all. He explains that normally these nails wouldn't loosen on their own unless something changed, like someone strengthening her core from the outside. And Yinyu's brain immediately starts cooking. She jumps up with a spark in her eyes like she just cracked a cheat code. She figures if she just keeps cultivating, the nails will loosen on their own. But Yacy hits her with the fine print. 3 nails have sealed her blood flow and talent entirely, so she'd need to grind 10,000 times harder than a normal person. Does that scare her off? Absolutely not. This girl declares with maximum confidence that she will undo this seal no matter what it takes. Yacy quietly notes that the 10 seals of the Dragon Shrine is the most vicious seal in existence, designed for gods and demons. Undoing it is basically a fantasy, and the system pings another emotional turmoil point. Then Yinyu completely switches topics and asks why the bronze pot he's pouring from never runs out of milk. Classic attention span from this kid. Yes, he catches something she said and asks what she just called him. She innocently replies that he told her not to call him daddy, so she went with uncle instead. The man is rendered completely silent. He has no comeback, no retort, nothing, and the system happily collects another emotional damage point from his suffering. So she sweetly tries Uncle Yacy instead, looking up at him with those sparkling eyes. He still can't bring himself to respond. He explains the pot uses a spatial seal that stores liquid forever, enough for 10 years of drinking, then casually adds, though who knows if you'll even be around that long. And Yinyu just goes silent at that one. He hands her the cup and tells her to get to bed early because he's heading back for the night. But she grabs his sleeve before he can leave and reminds him he still hasn't returned the spirit-sealing nail he pulled from her body. She tells him the nails from her seal are dangerous and she doesn't want anyone else having them. Yacy thinks to himself that this kid is actually pretty sharp to recognize their value. He figures since she asked for it directly, it would be unreasonable to refuse. So he holds it out for her, and she takes it with the most satisfied little grin on her face, absolutely glowing. This girl just negotiated a dangerous artifact out of an immortal general's hands. Yacy is left standing there wondering how he keeps getting outmaneuvered by someone who barely reaches his knee. The system tags another point of emotional turmoil. Next day, Yinyu's outside in the snow doing mental math. She's still 70,000 points short, but she's already scheming on how to farm them off the Hanliao Kingdom soldiers. But she reasons that 3 years is plenty of time. Between Yacy's constant emotional breakdowns and Baiyang being an absolute point dispensary, the numbers will add up. She marches off through the snow with Baiyang practically singing about having hope for the future. The vibes are immaculate right now. They wander over to the camp area where she spots soldiers in the middle of some kind of construction project. She's genuinely confused. Are they building a new campsite? What exactly is going on over here? One of the soldiers notices her outfit and tells her the new clothes look great on her. She's getting compliments left and right today. But then this bearded soldier decides to ruin the moment by saying she looks just like a green radish, and the girl's soul visibly leaves her body, and Baiyang, her supposed ride-or-die companion, immediately starts cackling at the comparison. Betrayal at its finest. Now both the bearded man and Baiyang are absolutely dying of laughter while Yinyu stands there radiating an aura of pure malice. She takes one deliberate step backward, and if you know anything about this girl by now, that's the calm before the storm. She detonates, screaming that they're the ones who look like green radishes. Their whole family tree looks like green radishes. Nobody is safe from this verbal assault. And then she upgrades from verbal to physical, launching herself straight into the bearded man with a full-body tackle that sends everyone flying. All three of them crash into the mud in a spectacular heap. Byung is collateral damage and honestly deserved it. She's on top of the guy just throwing hands like she's trying to max out a combo meter in a beat-em-up game. She yells at him about daring to bully her, wiping her face with righteous indignation still burning at full power. Cut to the discussion hall where the bearded man has gone straight to Yesi to file an official complaint. He's telling his boss that he was just joking around and look what she did. He's pointing at Yin Yu and demanding to know what kind of young lady behaves like a feral animal. Meanwhile, she's standing in the background looking entirely too calm about this, and there stand the two culprits, Yin Yu and a completely mud-caked Byung, looking like they just survived a war zone. The system quietly pings another emotional point from Yesi. Yesi dramatically sweeps out of the hall, robes billowing, and Yin Yu cautiously peeks in to gauge exactly how much trouble she's in. She and Byung are both nervously peeking from behind the doorframe like two suspects awaiting sentencing. The verdict is in. Yesi literally picks them both up and launches them out of the building like taking out the trash. They land in the water outside with a tremendous splash, and the system goes absolutely feral. Byung's mental breakdown and confusion rack up nearly 200 points combined. Yin Yu notices the system just upgraded to +2 points per emotional hit, and her survival instincts kick in immediately. Time to run before Yesi adds more. The bearded man comes sprinting back, yelling that he was also a victim in all of this. But nobody cares, and the system happily farms 9 points off Hyuji's crushed spirit, while Byung stares at the sky, questioning every life choice. And then Byung's emotional damage hits 99 points in one shot, which makes the bearded man do a double take. Meanwhile, our girl is standing there with the most devious little grin, and the bearded man has absolutely nothing to say. And then Yesi rolls up, looks down at the bearded man sitting in the dirt, and calls him a fool right to his face. Cut to later, and the maids have drawn a hot bath for Yin Yu, telling her to warm up before she catches a cold. One of the maids is wiping her face and going off about how General Yi shouldn't be blaming their young miss no matter what happened. And Yin Yu feeds right into it, pumping her fists and insisting that he started the whole thing first. Both maids immediately take her side, and the system pings that Wendong and Cui Shui have officially become her fans. +9 points each. Yin Yu's eyes go wide when she realizes she can farm points just by having people support her emotionally. This girl just discovered a whole new revenue stream. And now the maid is offering to make her braised pork to cheer her up after such a rough day. The words braised pork hit this child's ears, and her eyes literally turn into stars. Priorities have been rearranged. She's practically dancing through the hall, chanting braised pork over and over like it's a summoning spell. The maid delivers the goods, and Yin Yu is staring at that steaming bowl like it contains the meaning of life. She inspects it carefully and admits it actually looks pretty good. She snatches up those chopsticks with the urgency of someone who hasn't eaten in 3 lifetimes. She takes a massive bite, and for a moment everything seems perfect in the world. But then reality sets in. She mutters that she should have known a rundown military camp wouldn't exactly have gourmet cuisine. The maid cheerfully tells her there's plenty more in the pot, and Yin Yu's entire being rejects this information on a spiritual level. She bolts for the exit, and the maids are yelling after her that her hair isn't even dry yet, and it's freezing outside. She's sprinting through the snow screaming that she's not hungry, with the maid in hot pursuit begging her to finish lunch first. She finally collapses next to a horse, exhausted but relieved she managed to escape the braised pork situation. But then she stumbles into something serious. A man is addressing a group of refugees, acknowledging that army camps have never taken people like them in before. Yin Yu watches quietly, wondering if these displaced people can actually adapt to military life. The man doesn't sugarcoat it either. He calls them out directly, saying they've lost confidence, lost their will to fight, and are basically just waiting to die. But then he flips the whole thing around, slamming his fist and demanding to know what's actually wrong with being a refugee. He reminds them they once had homes and things they believed in, and asks if they've really forgotten all of that. Then drops the real bomb. He was a refugee too, and 80% of the entire Bouye army was recruited from refugees just like them. He points toward the training grounds and tells them those soldiers fighting on the northern borders bleed the exact same blood they do. And there they are, real soldiers drilling in formation through the snow, every single one of them once a refugee with nothing to their name. Yin Yu sits there processing all of this, genuinely wondering what these soldiers went through to transform into who they are now. And then this man starts pulling open his uniform right in front of everyone, which is definitely an unexpected power move. He turns around to reveal a massive tribal totem tattooed across his entire back. His tribe was wiped out by war, but he carries their memory on his skin forever. Now he's got his fist in the air, shirtless in the freezing cold, and the refugees behind him are actually starting to rally. Even Yin Yu is watching from the sideline with wide eyes. And our girl is tearing up. She's genuinely moved by this whole speech, which is a big deal for someone who usually only cries over bad food. Then another officer steps forward and shares that General Yi took him in 5 years ago. He went from knowing absolutely nothing to becoming one of the army's top 3 generals. He fires the question right at them. If someone like him could do it, what's stopping any of them? He calls on everyone to train together, and the refugees are actually getting fired up. Some of them are crying, but they're in, As the general walks away, something slips from his clothes and flutters to the ground. And guess who's right there to pick it up? She reads it and her jaw drops. Every single word of that passionate speech was written down on this note beforehand. Someone pokes her on the head from behind and the system pings that Dong Guoyi is feeling really excited. Plus 9 points, just like that. The guy leans down and starts bombarding her with questions about her name, her age, and her parents. And she's just standing there wondering why on earth he's so excited about her. Dong Guoyi keeps pestering our girl, asking why she won't talk to him, and Yin Yu hits him with the coldest possible response, and the system pings that Dong Guoyi is angry, plus 20 points. He calls her rude and starts warning her about bad uncles who might catch and eat her, which is genuinely the creepiest thing anyone has said to her today. He crouches down to her level and tells her this place is dangerous, that none of the people around here are good. And Yin Yu is thinking, wait, is he talking about the Buyei army soldiers? She's standing there internally screaming about what this guy actually wants and why he's so incredibly annoying, when her nose starts acting up from being out in the freezing cold with wet hair, and she lets out the most devastating sneeze directly onto this man's entire existence. Dong Guoyi is standing there absolutely shell-shocked with snot on his clothes, processing the biological warfare that just occurred. To her credit, she does try to wipe it off, but the damage is already done on every possible level. Then she flips the whole dynamic and sweetly asks if he really wants to know her name. And this man is left speechless, not sure if this is a peace offering or another trap. The system absolutely erupts, telling her Dong Guoyi is extremely mad, plus 99 points. Our girl is farming emotional damage like it's a speedrun. The system companion is absolutely thrilled, cheering that the points just skyrocketed. Yin Yu is basically running a scam at this point, and the universe is rewarding her for it. Dong Guoyi, still rocking the snot stain on his shirt like a badge of dishonor, tells her that yes, of course he wants to know her name. And then he goes full stranger danger mode, offering to buy her candy if she follows him. The system flags that Dong Guoyi has murderous intent, because suddenly Dong Guoyi drops the friendly act and starts radiating some seriously dangerous energy from his hand, and the whole vibe shifts from sketchy uncle to actual threat. Yin Yu's entire body reacts with a jolt as she realizes this guy is a cultivator just like the masked man. The power she's sensing from him is the real deal. His hand comes crashing down on her head with a burst of spiritual energy, and for a second it looks like this kid is in real trouble. But the energy backfires and Dong Guoyi is the one screaming in pain. Turns out attacking this particular child was a catastrophically bad decision, and Yin Yu is not about to let that slide. She winds up her tiny fist and goes absolutely feral on this grown man. Her fist connects with a bone-crunching impact that has no business coming from someone that small. She kicks him clean off his feet and the man goes flying, screaming in agony while another version of him is somehow also recoiling. This child is distributing violence like free samples, and now Dong Guoyi is on the ground sobbing while Yin Yu stands over him with the most satisfied little smile you have ever seen on a child's face. He takes off running and screaming for the commander, begging for help, claiming she's trying to kill him, and declaring he wants to quit the army entirely. Full meltdown mode. And of course the nearby soldiers have front row seats to all of this, with every single one of them getting tagged as curious by the system. Free points just for having an audience. A bigger soldier shows up asking what's going on, and Dong Guoyi immediately starts playing victim. He complains that the Buyei army is supposed to be fair, so why is this little girl allowed to attack him while everyone just watches? He's literally grabbing onto the commander demanding answers, asking if the young miss is just allowed to step on people and kill whoever she wants. This man is weaponizing victimhood at an elite level, and then he drops the absolute worst thing he could possibly say. He points right at Yin Yu and calls her a bastard child that Yi Si just picked up from the wild. Our girl is standing there processing the audacity. You can see her little fist trembling. She mutters back that he's the bastard child, and you can feel the rage building to critical mass. She decks him right in the face and screams that his entire family are bastard children. No hesitation, no restraint, just pure unfiltered retaliation. The soldiers are losing their minds in the background. One of them can't believe the young miss can pin a full-grown adult to the ground. Another is more concerned about the bastard child comment. Priorities everywhere. And there she is, sitting on top of him, delivering a full combo of punches to this man's face, like she's trying to unlock an achievement. The skull and crossbones in the background really set the mood. The system is going absolutely haywire. Every single onlooker is racking up shocked, surprised, and stunned reactions, and Yin Yu cheerfully thanks everyone for the free points. She turned a beatdown into a farming session. But the fun is interrupted when Zhou Hong appears out of nowhere and calls out to the young miss. Yin Yu immediately wonders what he's doing here. Zhu Hong delivers the message with a polite smile. General Ye wants to see her, and when the boss calls, you don't exactly get to say no. Cut to inside the main hall, and there's Dong Guoyi looking like he just went 12 rounds in a cage match, sitting right next to the tiny child responsible for all that damage. And seated on the throne is Ye Si himself, flanked by Wen Dong and Zhou Hong. The whole setup feels like a trial, with Yin Yu standing before them wondering how much trouble she's actually in. Wen Dong looks down at her and asks the obvious question. Young miss, why did you beat this man up? And Yin Yu gives the most straightforward defense imaginable. She says he called her a bastard child. Honestly, that's a pretty solid case right there. Yet C just sits there in silence, hand to his chin, looking thoroughly entertained behind that mask. This man is enjoying the chaos, and he's not even trying to hide it. They turn the questioning on Dong Guoyi, asking his name and why he insulted the young miss. And the man introduces himself as Li Xinliang, 20 years old, which is interesting because that is absolutely not what the system says his name is. Shohong nearly jumps out of his skin when he hears that name. He starts frantically asking which characters make up Xin and Liang, and what tribe he's from, like he just heard a ghost's name. Dong Guoyi explains the characters in his fake name and says he was separated from his family at age 5, so he doesn't remember his tribe. A very convenient and hard to verify backstory, and Yin Yu's brain immediately flags the lie. The system clearly identified this man as Dong Guoyi, and the system has never been wrong. This faker just invented a whole identity on the spot. But before she can say anything, the officers go ballistic with excitement. They're yelling to call General Li Xinyuan over because they just found his long-lost younger brother. Yin Yu is stunned. This man might be connected to General Li? Zhu Hong is practically glowing, confirming that the name, age, and year he got lost all match perfectly. He says General Li has been searching for his brother for years, and they finally found him. Both Dong Guoyi and Yin Yu are freaking out at the same time. He's shocked because his lie somehow landed perfectly, and she's furious because everyone is buying this con artist's story. Yin Yu glances over at Yi Si, and that man is unnervingly calm behind his mask. She's thinking, why is he not reacting to any of this? Does he already know something everyone else doesn't? She decides to shelve the mystery of the masked man for now, and go straight to her cheat code. She asks the system to look up Dong Guoyi's real identity. The system comes back with the pricing menu, and it is highway robbery. Info 1 costs 100,000 points, and Info 2 costs 500. She's only got 125,000 total, so the premium option would basically bankrupt her. So she goes with the budget option without a second thought. 500 points for Info 2 because sometimes you have to be a smart consumer even in a fantasy world. The system deducts the points and delivers the result. Dong Guoyi spy, 2 words that change absolutely everything about this situation. Yin Yu's blood runs cold. While everyone else in the room is warmly welcoming this imposter into the family, she's the only one who knows the truth. This man is an enemy agent who just infiltrated the Bouye army's inner circle. She lets out a deep sigh, because she knows what she has to do, and she also knows nobody is going to want to hear it. She steps forward and drops the bomb. She tells them he's not General Li's brother at all. His name isn't Li Xinliang, his real name is Dong Guoyi, and he's actually a spy. Dong Guoyi immediately tries to struggle free, telling them to let go, with an expression that has completely abandoned the helpless victim act. When Dong slams him to the floor, and the fake brother act is officially over, he's on his hands and knees screaming. He's kneeling there trembling with rage, and Yin Yu watches from behind Wendong, knowing full well she just put a target on this man's back based on information she can't exactly explain. Dong Guoyi goes absolutely nuclear. The system is racking up disbelief and terror points while he screams that she's accusing him without proof, that she hit him, tried to kill him, and now she's framing him. He even threatens that his brother Li Xinyan will make her pay. Yin Yu stands her ground and poses the question to the entire room. Do you believe him or do you believe me? And honestly, that takes some serious guts for a kid her size. And Yi Si, who has been silent this entire time, finally lets a smirk creep across his face behind that mask. Whatever is about to happen, this man has already decided how he wants it to go. The system pings that Yi Si's emotions have been stirred, plus 1 point. And then this man casually tells her, since you say he's a spy, then kill one for me to see, as a sword goes flying across the room. The blade clangs right at Yin Yu's feet, and she is frozen in pure shock. He's not asking for proof, he's asking her to execute someone. And that is where this episode leaves us. Yin Yu fires back immediately, telling them she's never killed anyone in her life. And Yi Si hits her with the most devastating counter imaginable. He says she was loud enough calling him a spy, so why is she scared now that he's asking her to prove it? Then comes the close-up, and that single visible eye is piercing right through her soul as he asks, "Are you lying?" And our girl doesn't back down. She clenches her fist and shouts that she's not lying. So Yi Si, cool as ice, simply tells her to kill that spy. No hesitation, no negotiation, just a direct order. And then comes the warning. In the Bouye army, there are no liars. If she's lying, she will pay the price. This kid is cornered. Yin Yu grips the sword with trembling hands and quietly insists that she didn't lie. The order is clear, kill him to prove she's telling the truth. Meanwhile, Dong Guoyi is on his knees, screaming that he's not a spy, that he's really Li Xinyan's brother. He's going all in on the con, screaming that he's a blood-related brother and that General Li will recognize him if they just wait. Yasi's response? 2 words. Do it. This man is terrifying. Yin Yu turns around toward Dong Guoyi, visibly shaking. She's a 3-year-old being told to execute a man. But before she can move, Dong Guoyi snaps. He powers up with some kind of energy technique, yelling that they forced him to do this. Yin Yu is completely blindsided. This man was playing weak the entire time, and now he's actually dangerous. But somebody delivers a brutal kick and puts him right back down. The spy never stood a chance in a room full of generals. And in the chaos, Yin drives the blade into Dong Guoyi. Blood spurts everywhere as she strikes. She's standing there holding a bloody dagger, blood splattered across her face, and those green eyes are just hollow with shock. Dong Guoyi's body is on the floor in a pool of blood, and Yin is just standing there, tiny and covered in crimson. And what does Yatsi do? He pulls something out from his sleeve with a smirk. Completely unbothered by the murder that just happened, he walks over and casually asks how many outfits she plans to go through in a single day. This man just watched a child kill someone and his first concern is laundry. Yin is completely speechless. She's covered head to toe in blood and this man is worried about wardrobe changes. And then it hits her. She just killed someone. Her first kill. She mutters that this world is too scary. And honestly, she's not wrong. She takes herself outside into the freezing snowy landscape and just sits there alone, processing everything. She's fighting back tears, curled up with blood still on her clothes. This is genuinely heartbreaking for a kid who got isekai'd into a war zone. But then she overhears someone nearby panicking about losing something and being terrified that the boss will punish him if he doesn't find it. Yin perks up and looks over, curiosity briefly overriding her emotional crisis, and she recognizes the guy immediately. It's Li Xinyuan, the actual General Li, stumbling through the snow with a torch looking for something. The man is in full panic mode, muttering that he's doomed and desperately needs to find whatever he lost. The mighty general, reduced to a frantic mess. Yin calls out to him and asks if he's looking for something specific, stretching out her hand like she might already have it. And this man straight up snatches whatever it is right out of her hand without a shred of dignity. Not a thank you, not even a blink, just pure survival instinct. Then he just stares at the item with the most embarrassed face imaginable, like a man whose entire life just flashed before his eyes. And without a single word, he holds the item to the torch and burns it. Whatever that was, it's going to the grave with him. He nervously laughs and tries to play it off with the most transparent small talk ever, asking if she's had dinner. She hits him with a flat nope. Yin decides to go for it and starts bringing up what happened earlier in the hall. Li Xinyuan immediately goes into maximum denial mode, claiming he has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. Classic deflection. He tries to escape by saying General Zhou is looking for him, but Yin casually mentions it's probably about his younger brother, and that stops him cold. He asks what younger brother and Yin tells him straight up, Li Xinliang, the brother he supposedly lost for several years. And Li Xinyuan just laughs and says he doesn't have such a brother before bolting. Meanwhile, Yin is left standing there realizing Li Xinyuan doesn't even have a younger brother. Yin is drowning in question marks. If Li Xinyuan never had a brother, then what was the entire officers' meeting about earlier? What kind of operation were they running? Meanwhile, back in the main hall, Yesi's officers report that everything from today has been documented on the scrolls. Yesi picks up a piece of evidence confirming that Dong Guoyi was indeed a spy sent by the Dongguo family. But the real question on everyone's mind is how the young miss knew that. Zhu Hong asks if Yesi told her in advance, but he says no. He adds that Yin carries a lot of secrets of her own, and the way he says it, with that knowing look, he's clearly intrigued. Zhu Hong keeps pushing, asking about her unknown origins and the mysterious lightning from before, but Yesi shuts it down, telling her not to ask about the girl anymore. Zhu Hong can't resist though. She teases him, asking if he cares about Yin because she reminds him of himself as a child. Yesi asks who told her that. Zhu Hong happily throws Zhang the Lame under the bus, saying he told her that Yetzi single-handedly cut down mountains at 7 and broke into the Imperial Palace at 10. Absolute menace behavior. Yesi's mood instantly darkens. He asks why old Zhang is telling people his business, and Zhu Hong cheerfully says they're close. The temperature in the room drops as Yesi tells her to stop digging into his past, and the way that mask catches the light makes it clear this isn't a suggestion. Zhu Hong immediately folds and admits she was wrong. Smart woman. You don't poke the sleeping dragon twice. She quickly changes the subject to Yinyu's performance instead. Both she and Wendong agree that for a 3-year-old, the kid showed incredible guts today. Yesi casually reminds them for what seems like the 100th time that she literally fell from the sky. As if that explains everything. Zhu Hong makes the mistake of mentioning that Zhang the Lame also said the falling from the sky part, and Yesi immediately kicks both officers out. On their way out, Wendong drops a bombshell suggestion. Who cares where she's from? She's cute, they could raise her and gain a son-in-law later. This man is already planning the wedding. But Zhu Hong shuts that down, saying Yinyu is causing way too much chaos in the army camp and is far too mischievous for her own good. These two start going back and forth. Zhu Hong says a little mischief is fine for a 3-year-old, but Wendong fires back that she'll betray them someday and calls Yinyu cunning. The bickering is legendary. And then Yesi drops the real bomb. He wants Yinyu to become the future general of the Buyei army. Let that sink in for a second. Zhu Hong and Wendong are both absolutely floored. Question marks are practically floating out of their heads. The boss wants a toddler to become their next general. Later that night, Yinyu heads back to her quarters, still covered in blood and emotionally running on fumes. Her 2 attendants take one look at her and absolutely lose it, screaming about why she's covered in blood. The system racks up shock points from both maids, while Yinyu casually explains she just stabbed a mosquito nest. A mosquito nest. The maids exchange the most confused look in recorded history because no mosquito nest produces that much blood, but they decide not to push it. More confusion points roll in as they lead her off for a bath and clean clothes, because that's all they can really do right now. Finally, Yin-Yu is fast asleep in fresh pajamas, and her trusty white horse companion Byung-gi is knocked out right beside her. Two exhausted souls. Byung-gu is having the most wholesome dream, galloping through a snowy field looking absolutely majestic, living his best horse life in his imagination. But the peace doesn't last, because Yin-Yu wakes up to her stomach growling. Right, she never actually had dinner. And what does she do? She climbs right over Byung-gu like he's a stepping stool. Zero respect for this creature's personal space. The poor horse's dream instantly turns into a nightmare where a mountain crashes on top of him, which from his perspective, Yin-Yu finds something to drink and pours herself a cup while Byung-gu lies on the floor completely defeated. She chugs it down without a care in the world. After the day she's had, she deserves at least this much. On her way back to bed, she steps on Byung-gu again and jolts the poor thing wide awake. This horse lives in a constant state of suffering. She happily declares that the milk was delicious while the system racks up upset and anger points from Byung-gu. That wasn't regular milk. The next morning, Wendong shows up asking for the young miss. The maids say she's still sleeping, and it turns out the general has been waiting outside all night. She refuses to leave, saying she'll just wait right here until Yin-Yu wakes up. Whatever she needs to say must be important. Yin-Yu finally wakes up and hears that General Fu has been camped outside waiting for her. She wonders what could possibly be so urgent. She decides to go check it out, naturally stepping on Byung-gu one more time on her way down because at this point the horse is just furniture to her. Byung-gu's frustration racks up more points as Yin-Yu peeks through the curtain to see who's out there. Wendong is right there waiting and greets her with a warm smile. "Young miss," she says, and you can tell she's got something on her mind. But before Wendong can even start, Zhou appears out of nowhere declaring she arrived at the perfect time. Wendong is visibly annoyed by the competition. Turns out both of them want to teach Yin-Yu cultivation. Wendong says she should start with theory, but Zhou insists on a more hands-on approach. The turf war has begun. Zhu physically shoves Wendong aside and tells Yin-Yu to come with her instead. Wendong fires back that Zhu methods might not suit the young miss. Zhu mocks Wendong's cultivation style, and Wendong loses it, screaming that she's the icon of strength and Zhu doesn't understand anything. These two are going at it like rival parents at a school meeting. Yin-Yu is just standing between them laughing, wondering why two grown generals are fighting over who gets to be her teacher. Main character privilege is a real thing. And then Yasi himself appears in the snow, robes flowing in the wind, and tells both of them to leave because he'll be personally teaching her. The final boss just enrolled as her private tutor. Yasi tells her to fix up her hair before showing up at his study room. The man has standards, even for his 3-year-old pupil. Yin-Yu is processing the fact that the masked man himself is going to be her personal instructor. Those big green eyes are full of disbelief right now. Zhou is completely bewildered while Yin-Yu takes a jab at Wendong, pointing out she waited all night and all morning just to teach her. The dedication is honestly flattering, and that sets Wendong off completely. She draws her weapons and declares she's actually going to commit murder today. Being laughed at was the final straw. Zhu is now sprinting through the snow dodging actual arrows while screaming for General Fu to spare her life. These are supposed to be senior military officers. Yin-Yu is just standing there watching two generals try to murder each other in real time, thinking, great, they're really going at it now. She arrives at Yi-N's study room but hesitates outside the door. She's wondering what exactly he plans to teach her, and more importantly, whether this is recruitment into a full-blown rebellion. Before she can even knock, Yi-Si swings the door open himself. The man was already aware she was loitering outside like a stray cat. But instead of being intimidated, Yin-Yu just waves at him with the brightest smile while thinking about pineapples for some reason. And the system pings that Yesi's emotions just shifted. This kid is melting the Ice King without even trying. He asks her why she was standing outside his door doing nothing. That half-visible eye behind the mask tells you he already knows the answer. He places a hand on her head and guides her through the doorway. "Come in," he says, like it's the most natural thing in the world to invite a toddler into your war room. And the second she steps inside, her eyes go wide. The walls are covered in detailed maps, military documents, strategic layouts, so she just comes right out with it. She tells him she hasn't decided if she wants to join his rebellion yet and asks for more time to think. The audacity of this child to negotiate with a warlord. Yesi asks who said anything about a rebellion, and Yin-Yu immediately hits him with the receipts. Detailed palace maps, refugees making weapons, people digging trenches. If that's not a rebellion, what do you call it? And then Yesi drops something unexpected. He says being the sovereign of humans doesn't interest him. This man has an army, battle plans, and zero desire for the throne. Yin-Yu looks up at him with the most skeptical expression a 3-year-old has ever produced. So you want to start a rebellion, but you don't even want to be emperor? How noble of you. And that does it. Yisi grabs her by the back of her outfit and just lifts her up like a kitten that talked too much. He straight up tosses her across the room. This is his teaching method apparently. Step 1, throw the student. Once she's settled down, Yesi gets serious. From today onwards, he tells her, there are things she needs to learn. Yin asks why he needs to teach her all this, and Yi simply says he'll tell her one day in the future, always with the cryptic answers from this man. Then he points out that cultivating isn't exactly a bad deal for her either, and honestly, he's got a point there. Yin starts doing the math in her head. If she cultivates and strengthens her core, the seals on her body will gradually loosen, and she can't rely on the system to break the seal in 3 years either. So maybe this arrangement actually works in her favor. But then Ye suddenly leans in close, and Yin is immediately on guard, and he drops the bomb. He asks her straight up, "Your soul is actually more than 3 years old, right?" Yin blood runs cold instantly. She's spiraling. How did he figure that out? And why is he so confident about it? Her cover might be completely blown right now. She's sitting there wondering if she gave herself away by acting too mature, which, considering she's been outsmarting adults since she arrived, is a very valid concern. But instead of crumbling under pressure, she makes a decision. She'll try to play along and see where this goes. No point panicking when the man already suspects her, so she tries to test him with a reference only someone from her original world would understand. She asks about wine drunk by an ancient emperor. Classic culture check move. Yessie just looks confused and asks if she knows poetry, wondering why she's bringing this up now. Not the reaction of someone from the same world at all. And that confirms it. He's not from her world, which means he figured out her secret through some other method entirely, and that might actually be worse. Then something sparks near her head, literal electricity crackling along her skin. Something inside her is reacting. Yessie examines her and explains that the soul-sealing nail has loosened. Her blood flow and energy are showing signs of breaking free from her body. He knows exactly what's happening to her. He tells her that her soul and actual age don't match up, and for such an impossible thing to happen to her as well. That word, too, carries some heavy implications. Yin catches it and asks what kind of energy she even has. Yessie answers that question by poking her forehead, and lightning crackles on contact. Casual diagnosis by electrocution, standard medical practice. She's clutching her head saying obviously it's lightning, but can he stop zapping her and actually explain things? She still has a pile of unanswered questions. She asks the big question. If she starts cultivating now, can the seal really be undone in 3 years? Yessie lays it out. 3 years is possible, but incredibly difficult. The 10 seals of the dragon shrine require the power equivalent to killing a dragon. Imagine a dragon sitting on top of you, suppressing every cell in your body. That's what she's dealing with. But he makes her a promise. He'll do his best to help undo the seals on her back over the coming years. The soul-sealing nails, though, those are tied to her soul directly. He can't touch those. For the nails, he suggests she try dream control and focus techniques to strengthen her soul on her own. It might help where he can't, but then comes the catch. He pulls her close and says she'll have to help him in return. Nothing in this world is free, not even from the mysterious masked mentor. Yin looks him dead in the eye and tells him to just say what he wants straight up. No sugarcoating. This kid negotiates like a CEO trapped in a toddler's body, and what he says next changes the whole mood. He tells her he doesn't have much time left, and he needs her to stay put and stop causing chaos. The way he says it, it sounds less like an order and more like a dying wish. Yin watches him turn away, and the realization hits her like a truck. She's thinking, wait, is the masked man actually dying? That line about not having much time suddenly carries terrifying weight. But before she can process that bombshell, someone shows up carrying an absolutely massive cauldron through the doorway. Yin has no idea what's about to happen to her. The thing gets dropped on the floor with a heavy metallic ring that shakes the room. Yin is staring at this enormous vessel like it personally offended her. Yessie asks if she has any more questions. Yin is shaking her head vigorously. None for now, she says, clearly just wanting to survive whatever comes next. Good, because Yessie announces they're starting body tempering immediately. Yin peeks out from behind him asking what exactly body tempering involves. Valid question when there's a cauldron the size of a bathtub in front of you. The cauldron is now filled with a glowing blue liquid that looks like it belongs in an alchemist's fever dream. Yin is standing in front of it looking deeply concerned. The absolute terror on this child's face right now is unmatched. Her eyes have gone completely blank with dread. Meanwhile, Yessie is over by a shelf full of colorful potions, looking like a pharmacist who took a very wrong turn in his career. He picks up a flask of green liquid with the confidence of a man who's done this before. He starts pouring the green concoction into the cauldron while Yin watches the mixture bubble and steam. She is not hiding her feelings about this whatsoever. Then comes the purple liquid, then actual gemstones and crystals get tossed in. This man is cooking up something that would make a chemistry teacher weep, and then he conjures actual fire in his bare hands to heat the mixture. Because why use a stove when you're a cultivation master who can make flames appear from nothing? The energy around him flares with intensity as he channels his power into the brew. Hair flowing, blue aura blazing. Even while making soup, this man looks absolutely cinematic. He stirs the concoction as it transforms into a violent purple-blue storm of bubbles. Whatever this liquid is, it does not look safe for human consumption. Yessie turns to Yin and gestures toward the steaming cauldron like he's a waiter presenting today's special. Yin Yu's face is scrunched up like someone just waved a dead fish under her nose. She asks if they're really starting just like that, with no preparation, no warm-up, nothing. But she decides to power through and starts pulling off her outer clothes, muttering, "All right, whatever, let's get this over with." Yatsi looks down at her with genuine confusion and asks what exactly she thinks she's doing right now. She explains that in all the novels she's read, body tempering means stripping down and soaking in the liquid. She thought this was bath time. Her novel knowledge just betrayed her. Yisi corrects her with the most evil grin imaginable. "Who said you're bathing in it, you're drinking it?" Yin Yu's reaction is pure unfiltered horror. She has to drink that entire cauldron. She stands next to the cauldron and the size difference is genuinely criminal. This vessel is bigger than she is. She's expected to drink the whole thing. Yutsi doesn't give her time to protest. He tells her to stop hesitating, tilts the cauldron, and essentially force-feeds her the body-tempering liquid, parenting skills on full display. She's chugging with every ounce of willpower she has, face completely twisted in disgust. This is not a gourmet experience by any stretch. While she drinks, Yisi casually explains that body tempering strengthens the core. It's usually done after some cultivation, but since she's sealed, they have to do everything backwards. She's now lying inside the cauldron looking like she's astral projecting. Yasai continues explaining that they need to strengthen her core first, so the seal loosens enough for her to even begin cultivating. Oh, and he casually drops that normal people who can't handle body tempering will literally explode. He says this while tipping the cauldron over her head with a smile. "Let's see if you make it," he says. Motivational teaching at its finest. Yin Yu is fully submerged and freaking out, wondering if the masked man is just using her as a test subject. Her hair is literally standing on end from the energy coursing through her. But Yusi doesn't let up. He keeps pouring more down her throat, while even the scene itself seems confused about what's happening. Question marks are literally floating everywhere. Yesi asks how she feels, and Yen Yu, sitting on the floor with her hair fully spiked out like she got struck by lightning, says she feels nothing. Not even full. This child might actually be built different. So Yusi says, "Great, another bowl then." Yin Yu screams in protest because apparently surviving once wasn't enough. They're doing round 2. While preparing another batch, Yisi decides to multitask and starts teaching her cultivation basics. He tells her to pay attention and memorize everything. Efficiency at its most terrifying. Yin Yu perks right up though. She grabs a brush and paper and tells him to go ahead. Say what you will about this kid. She takes her studies seriously. Yasi begins the lesson. The martial realms go from sky to black to earth to gold, low to high. Reaching the gold martial realm is extraordinarily rare in any era. Now we're getting into the cultivation power system. Yin Yu is scribbling notes furiously and repeating the realms back. Sky, black, earth, gold. She's actually being a good student for once. Yasi asks if her writing can even keep up with how fast he's talking. She fires back that she writes fast and he should keep going. The teacher-student dynamic is weirdly wholesome. He moves on to geography. The land is divided into 5 major regions. They're in the north, which is the coldest, poorest, and most underdeveloped region. Their nation is Baiyu, currently at war with the Han Liao Kingdom. Yin Yu puts it together immediately. North, south, east, west, and she guesses the center must be the 5th region. Her eyes are sparkling with that big brain energy. Yesi says she's half right. The 5th region doesn't sit in the center. It actually covers the entire land, wrapping around all 4 regions. And it's called the Ghost Region, a dangerous place where no normal human can set foot. Yin Yu asks if there are actual ghosts. Ichi confirms the Ghost Region is inhabited by demons, monsters, and vicious creatures from all corners of the world. Basically a forbidden zone. And Yin Yu's reaction? Pure excitement. She thinks the Ghost Region sounds amazing and cool. This child hears demons and monsters and gets hyped instead of terrified. Yasi asks why she's not even slightly scared. And Yin Yu hits him with the smoothest line possible. She says there's nothing to fear since he's right here. This 3-year-old just riz-checked the most dangerous man in the army. And the system immediately pings. Yisi undergoes emotional changes, +1 point. She broke through his defenses without even swinging a weapon. The emotional damage is real. Yin Yu keeps the questions rolling, asking about the Baiyu nation specifically. Meanwhile, Yisi is stirring the cauldron like a man trying very hard to pretend he wasn't just emotionally compromised. Yasi says the Baiyu nation is where he grew up. Even though it's poor and the emperor is corrupt, he doesn't wish for it to be destroyed. Yen Yu asks if there are threats beyond the Han Liao nation. And Yusi smoothly dodges the question by saying it's time to continue body tempering. Interesting. There's something he's not telling her. And just like that, they're back to the torture session. Yusi tells her to open her mouth. Yen Yu is standing by the cauldron looking like a prisoner on death row. She opens wide with absolute resignation on her face, internally accepting that there's no escape from this. Some battles you just can't win. Down goes another round. Yasi tips the cauldron and Yin Yu chugs like her life depends on it, which according to that explosion warning earlier, it literally might. Yasi finally pulls the cauldron away, saying they're almost done, then asks how she's feeling now. She says she's completely stuffed and can't handle any more. Yasi asks if she has any other sensations besides being full. She describes feeling her cells splitting and recombining at an insane speed, The body-tempering liquid is actually restructuring her from the inside out. Her body feels hot, she says, but it's not painful. More like her blood is boiling with new power. Her eyes are practically glowing with the energy coursing through her veins. Yesei takes mental note of how much she can absorb and says he'll destroy the remaining liquid. They'll pick up again tomorrow. Training arc officially unlocked. But Yinyu grabs his sleeve and begs him not to throw it away. Wasting perfectly good body-tempering liquid? In this economy, she has a better idea. She suggests feeding the leftovers to Biangu. And right on cue, the poor horse appears in the background, completely unaware of the fate being planned for him. Biangu takes one look at the situation and bolts into the snow at maximum speed. The system racks up 99 terror points from that horse. Biangu's survival instincts remain undefeated. We're jumping right into chaos because General Fu is swinging at Zhou Hong with absolutely zero chill. Zhou Hong takes to the sky and starts raining projectiles down, and Fu is losing his mind, calling him a coward for not fighting head-on. The soldiers have been watching this slugfest for almost an entire day now, and apparently it all started because Zhou Hong couldn't keep his mouth shut. Turns out General Fu pulled an all-nighter preparing to train Yinyu, but Ye Si snatched that opportunity away. Zhou Hong then decided to laugh about it, and well, that was the wrong move. And here's the thing about Zhou Hong. He'll smile right to your face while mentally dragging you through the mud. Always scheming, always plotting, always 2 steps ahead. Their weapons collide hard enough to crack the frozen ground beneath them. These two are not playing around. Meanwhile, the soldiers are going full fan mode for General Fu, cheering him on like this is a sports event. And naturally, where there's a fight, there's someone taking bets. This guy rolls up with a scroll asking everyone to put their money where their mouth is. The soldiers are hyping up General Fu's combat record, pointing out that General Yi clearly trusts him enough to hand him more troops. They're all in. General Fu is second in command of the legendary squad that crushed the Han Liao Kingdom, so obviously he'll wipe the floor with Zhou Hong. But Zhou Hong is barely breaking a sweat over here. He's dodging everything with a smirk that says he's been toying with Fu this entire time. And then Zhou Hong just straight up disappears from Fu's line of sight. One second he's there, the next he's gone. He reappears behind Fu with a dagger at his throat and calmly announces that General Fu has lost. Fight over. Just like that. Fu is furious because Zhou Hong just used space constriction, which is basically teleportation, and it's General Yi's personal technique. Zhou Hong gleefully rubs it in that Yi taught it to him and not to Fu. And wouldn't you know it, the guy running the bets just won big. He's holding his bag of winnings while every soldier who bet on Fu is seething. He thanks everyone for their generous donations and literally vanishes into thin air. The soldiers are left standing there with their jaws on the floor. That's when it hits them. That bet runner was Qrong Swan from the Assassin Squad, Zhou Hong's personal lackey. The entire fight, the bets, all of it was a setup. They just got hustled on a professional level. Zhou Hong just stands there looking absolutely ethereal while casually calling them a fool and an idiot. The disrespect is immaculate. So naturally the soldiers lose it and start chasing Zhou Hong through the snow, screaming for him to return their hard-earned money. He's cackling the entire time. But then Yinyu comes barreling in from the other direction, chasing poor Biangu while yelling at the horse to accept its body-tempering medicine. Zhou Hong pauses to watch this unfold, and Biangu, in a desperate bid for survival, kicks Zhou Hong clean off his feet. The soldiers cheer the horse on like it just scored the winning goal. Now the soldiers have Zhou Hong pinned in the snow and they're demanding he pick up their money and hand it over. Karma comes fast around here. But Zhou Hong hits them with the ultimate reverse card. He says, "What money? Gambling is prohibited in the army camp, and you're both commanders. You wouldn't be gambling now, would you?" And they're just standing there completely checkmated. Zhou Hong is smiling like an angel who just committed a war crime. This man is operating on a different wavelength entirely. That's when our little protagonist shows up with Biangu in tow, complaining that the horse ran so far she had to chase it all over the place. And immediately her eyes lock onto the scattered coins on the ground. This child has a sixth sense for money that borders on supernatural. The soldiers quietly note that the young miss is not nearly as innocent as she looks, and apparently Yesi has already decided she'll be the next general. This toddler has a career path most adults would envy. Zhou Hong figures that Yesi's approval probably goes back to when Yinyu handled the spy situation so cleanly. The boss has been watching her moves this whole time. The soldiers quickly calculate that since the boss never goes back on his word, offending the future general over pocket change probably isn't the smartest move. Yinyu scoops up the coins and innocently asks the two commanders if this money belongs to them. The sheer audacity of this child holding their own money in front of their faces. The system pings immediately. Commander Yu is panicking, Commander Li is speechless. Both plus 9 points. Yinyu is farming emotional damage without even trying. Zhou Hong swoops in and tells Yinyu the money has no owner, just take it. He figures giving it to her is way better than letting those two idiots have it back, especially since Yesi would punish them for gambling anyway. The commanders are absolutely losing it, calling Zhou Hong every name in the book. A dog, a scammer, an actor, but there's nothing they can do about it. The system is going wild with notifications as both commanders spiral. Meanwhile, Zhou Hong and Yin Yu are happily gathering every last coin off the ground like a perfectly coordinated scam duo. But here's the twist. Zhou Hong is internally screaming because the brat just took all his hard-earned scam money. He wasted an entire day on this operation and a 3-year-old dismantled his profits in seconds. Yin Yu is counting her coins happily while Zhou Hong bends down offering her a fan, completely swallowing his pride. Nobody wants to get on the bad side of the future general, not even the camp's most shameless con artist. Yin Yu grabs Biangu's reins with one hand and clutches her bag of loot with the other. This child just finessed every grown man in this camp, and she's not even old enough to count past 32. And now she's dragging Biangu back to Yesi's study for round 2 of body tempering. The system shows the horse at 99 points of sheer unwillingness and terror. Biangu knows exactly what's coming. From inside the study room, all you can hear are horrifying screams. Biangu's terror points are stacking so fast the system can barely keep up. Commanders, Yu and Li are hiding nearby, and they're genuinely asking each other if someone is slaughtering an animal in there. One of them whispers, "Is she trying to eat Biangu?" The screaming intensifies, but they quickly dismiss the idea because Biangu is Yesi's personal pet. Surely even the young miss wouldn't dare go that far. But forget the horse, they've got priorities. Commander Yu declares he's getting his money back today no matter what, and Li agrees, reasoning that shaking down a toddler has got to be easier than dealing with Zhou Hong. Their grand strategy? Ambush a 3-year-old and make her cry until she gives the money back. The manhwa literally labels them idiot and fool, and honestly it's being generous. But then they peek out and see Yin Yu casually dragging an unconscious Biangu across the snow like she's hauling luggage. The confidence drains from their faces instantly, and Biangu is completely unconscious with its tongue hanging out. This horse looks like it met its maker and came back just to faint again. The two commanders are whispering to each other in genuine horror. They think the young miss actually killed Biangu, Yisi's beloved horse. And then Yin Yu turns around and spots them. She looks up with those big green eyes and cheerfully asks what they're doing hiding in the bushes. These two grown military commanders are literally clinging to each other in terror. One of them is screaming that he doesn't even want his money anymore, because if she can kill Biangu and Yesi doesn't care, what chance do they have? They bolt at top speed across the snowy field while Yin Yu watches them go. She mutters that she's never lost at anything, clearly baffled by the whole interaction. The system registers Commander Yu as scared and shocked for 10 points, and Commander Li literally ran away like a rat for 20. These are military leaders, by the way, running from a toddler. Yin Yu is standing there absolutely drowning in question marks. She genuinely has no idea why everyone keeps running away from her. Back inside, the maids have been busy. They're presenting Yin Yu with versions 23 and 24 of their braised pork belly recipe. These women are treating taste testing like a competitive sport. But Yin Yu has reached her limit. She's screaming that she doesn't want to try anything anymore and just wants to drink milk. 24 versions of pork belly will break anyone. She blasts through the doorway at full sprint, leaving the maids standing there holding their carefully prepared dishes. Our girl chose escape over diplomacy. Meanwhile, word has spread through the camp. The gossip network is operating at peak efficiency, and the current headline is that the young miss murdered General Yesi's favorite horse. And then Yin Yu comes tearing through the village like a tiny tornado, and every soldier who just heard the horse murder rumor watches her blast past in complete terror. The system is absolutely going off. Multiple soldiers registering shock, fright, and frozen-in-place reactions. Yin Yu has become a walking natural disaster in the minds of this entire army. Yin Yu screeches to a halt and looks around confused, asking why everyone seems so scared. She's holding a little jug and genuinely does not understand the chaos she's causing. The soldiers are screaming that the living god of the underworld has arrived, and one guy is literally standing perfectly still chanting "You can't see me" over and over. This is a military camp full of trained warriors, afraid of a toddler. Every single soldier within a 50-foot radius is feeding the system. Running, terrified, frozen, the emotional spectrum of pure fear is being fully explored right now. Yin Yu is just standing there holding her jug, surrounded by question marks, thinking that something very strange must have happened while she was gone. Meanwhile, one of the camp's masked assassins is going around warning everyone that the young miss who killed Biangu has been spotted in the living quarters area. He's knocking on doors like it's an emergency broadcast. But even the assassin looks genuinely rattled. When a professional killer is nervous about a 3-year-old, you know the rumors have escalated beyond reason. Yin Yu has found a candy stall and she's demanding a sugar figurine right now, threatening to punch the vendor if he doesn't make it well. The poor man says he doesn't even have small change. The system pings Sugarman Wang as troubled for 10 points. Even the random vendor NPCs are feeding Yin Yu's point total now. Yin Yu slams money on the counter and tells him to take it or she'll punch him. She's trying to pay for candy and the man is acting like she's threatening his life, which from his perspective she kind of is. The vendor is shaking so hard he can barely shape the sugar. The system confirms he's extremely terrified, plus 10 more points. This man is crafting candy under what he believes is mortal threat. The assassin network is tracking Yin Yu's movements in real time now. One agent reports she's leaving the 3rd stall heading for the 6th. They're running intel operations on a child buying snacks. Another update comes in. She's left the 6th stall and heading for the 8th. These assassins are relaying her position like she's a military target. The operational coordination is genuinely impressive for a candy run. Two assassins meet inside a building exchanging nods. They've established a full surveillance perimeter around a preschooler's shopping trip. And then Zhou Hong shows up, sighing dramatically. He's wondering out loud how someone as brilliant as himself ended up with two complete idiots for subordinates. Zhou Hong asks the assassin what exactly he discovered from stalking the young miss. The assassin is completely caught off guard that the boss is here in person. Zhou Hong tells him to stop the surveillance entirely and instead go tell those two idiot commanders that the young miss is simply eating a sugar candy. That's it, that's all she's doing. He shoos the assassin away with a cheerful wave, and the man snaps to attention and dashes off to deliver the message. The assassin launches across the rooftops at top speed, delivering candy news with the same urgency as a wartime dispatch. Peak military efficiency right here. But the message arrives too late because Commander Yu has already burst into the market area screaming for everyone to close their stalls. His intel? The young miss is eating people. Commander Lee is right behind him waving a scroll around in full panic mode. The game of telephone in this army has gone from she's eating candy to she's eating humans in record time. The soldiers are screaming to hide all the sweets because apparently the young miss wants dessert while eating people. And there in the background stands Zhou Hong, watching his two fool subordinates cause mass hysteria, probably wondering why he even bothered. Yinyu is absolutely thriving right now, celebrating a massive haul of points while her body tempering continues to stack up protection layers in the background. And now she's wondering if undoing her seal might make her prettier, which is already a concerning train of thought for a 3-year-old as she sneaks through a doorway. She bursts through like she's making a villain entrance at a convention, arms spread wide, radiating pure chaotic energy, and Byung-gu takes one look at this tiny menace appearing in the doorway and nearly has a heart attack. The system casually awards 99 points for traumatizing a horse. Byung-gu bolts into the snowy wilderness at full gallop and Yinyu just watches from the doorway like she genuinely cannot figure out why everything runs from her. Meanwhile, somewhere in the camp, a conversation is starting about some faraway market, and someone immediately interrupts asking if the market is literally right next door. Oh no. The soldiers are having a candlelit storytime session. 4 grown men huddled around a single flame like they're about to tell the scariest campfire tale of their lives. One soldier leans in with the most ominous expression and explains that by day, the young miss wears orange clothes and innocently eats snacks. But when night falls, she transforms. He claims her neck rotates a full 180 degrees and she becomes a hopping zombie. This man is delivering this information with the conviction of an eyewitness at a federal hearing. 2 soldiers are now wrapped in their cloaks like security blankets, whispering that every time there's a full moon, things get worse. These men have constructed an entire mythology around a toddler. The main storyteller is getting more animated, claiming the young miss will capture anyone walking alone and devour them whole, and that he personally witnessed it. Now they're looping General Yesi into the rumors too, saying he eats children, father-daughter cannibal duo apparently. And then someone realizes with mounting horror that tonight is in fact a full moon. And naturally, this is the exact moment one of them desperately needs to use the bathroom. His buddy tells him to hold it in, but the man is physically incapable of complying with that order. He makes a break for it under the full moon, and within seconds someone screams the word ghost so loud it echoes across the entire camp. The other soldiers burst out demanding to know what ghost, and the panic spreads faster than any actual threat ever could in this camp. Because standing there in the moonlight is Byung-gu, glowing like an ethereal spirit horse straight out of a fantasy painting. The soldiers stammer out Lord Byung-gu's name like they're seeing a dead relative. They're screaming that Byung-gu's soul has returned for vengeance, tripping over each other, begging the horse not to haunt them and insisting the young miss is the one who killed it. And Byung-gu is just standing there completely baffled, asking when exactly it died because it certainly doesn't remember that happening. The horse is having a genuine identity crisis right now. Turns out Byung-gu isn't dead at all. The body-tempering liquid just transformed it into this luminous, otherworldly creature, and the horse is only now realizing how different it looks. The shock of discovering its own glow-up is too much, and Byung-gu straight up faints. A horse fainted from seeing itself. This series continues to deliver content nobody asked for but everyone needed. And of course, hiding behind a tree nearby, Yinyu has been watching this entire circus unfold with a devious little grin. She clasps her hands together and sincerely thanks all her friends for the generous point donations. Our girl is running the most efficient emotional farming operation in military history. Scene change. Out in the snowy mountains, 2 figures are clashing blades at high speed, and the choreography here is legitimately impressive. Yesi closes the distance in an instant, his blade cutting through the air so fast it leaves after images. Q Rongswan barely manages to react. The spar ends, and Q Rongswan compliments the boss's swordsmanship. Yesi returns the praise but immediately starts critiquing his breathing technique, because he cannot help being a perfectionist. Q Rongswan basically admits the lecture went over his head and suggests they look at the new intel instead. Yesi extends his hand for the report without missing a beat. And here's the intel drop. Both princesses are on their way to the camp. Estimated arrival in 2 days. That is some politically charged company headed straight for them. Yesi's response is immediate and cold. Create trouble for them, do not let them reach the camp. This man does not want royal visitors anywhere near his territory. But before they move on to sabotage logistics, Yesi brings up something unexpectedly domestic. He asks if Lua Yinyu is still refusing to eat properly these past few days. Qurong Swan confirms the young miss only runs around with her milk pot and won't touch actual food. Yesi points out that milk alone isn't enough for a growing child, and the maids are apparently stressed about it too. Yesi goes quiet for a moment, clearly turning something over in his mind. For a man who just ordered political sabotage, he's spending a suspicious amount of brainpower on a toddler's diet. Next morning, Biangu is standing outside looking absolutely magnificent after its body-tempering glow-up, sparkling in the snow like a fantasy mount from a 5-star gacha pull. Yinyu pushes open the door and peeks outside, her big green eyes scanning the area with obvious curiosity. She runs right up to Biangu and is genuinely amazed at how well the body-tempering liquid worked on the horse. The glow-up is so dramatic she barely recognizes it, but Biangu is not having it. The horse is snorting and huffing at her, clearly still upset about last night's scare or about the whole body tempering situation in general. Even Biangu being angry feeds the system. 3 more points from the horse's irritation, and our girl's total has officially hit 135,000. She's celebrating like she just cleared a raid boss. The maids come running over looking thrilled, telling Yinyu she's in luck today. Whatever they've got planned, the excitement on their faces suggests it's a big deal. But the second she spots who's behind them, Yinyu immediately latches onto Yesi's leg while Biangu cowers behind her. Yesi's speechless expression says everything. Yinyu takes off running with Biangu, screaming that she's not hungry and doesn't want food, but the maids counter by mentioning that Butler Zhang made it, not them, and it's supposedly delicious. That name stops her dead in her tracks. Butler Zhang? She and Biangu both freeze mid-escape, suddenly very interested in who this person might be. Biangu is already giddy at the mention of this Butler Zhang, and the system confirms the horse's happiness with 5 more points. Yinyu notes that Biangu seems really excited about this person. And then we meet the man himself, an elderly butler arriving at camp, asking if this tiny creature is really the young miss. Yisi casually confirms she's super naughty and hands her off like a package. Butler Zhang takes one look at Yinyu and immediately melts, gushing about how cute she is. This man has been on screen for 3 seconds and is already wrapped around her tiny finger. He pulls out a bundle of food he brought all the way from Yongan City specifically for the young miss. This man made a cross-city delivery run for a child he just met. He starts listing everything: milk candies, biscuits, red date cookies, still warm from the journey. Yisi is watching from behind while Biangu literally drools in the background. Yinyu is internally screaming about all this delicious food, and Butler Zhang cheerfully volunteers to cook all her meals from now on. Yisi definitely orchestrated this entire thing, didn't he? The system confirms Butler Zhang is absolutely smitten. 22 points for happiness and 33 for his heart literally melting. This old man has been conquered in record time. Yinyu clutches the treats to her chest with pure joy on her face, but in her head she's genuinely puzzled about why this grandpa adores her so much from their very first meeting. But disaster strikes when some of the treats tumble out of her tiny arms and hit the snowy ground. Yinyu looks genuinely heartbroken about the waste. Butler Zhang immediately blames himself, apologizing for giving her too much to carry when her hands are so small. This man is taking personal responsibility for gravity, but he has a solution. He pulls out a special storage bag and explains it can hold anything without adding weight. Now we're entering spatial inventory territory, and Yinyu just unlocked a game-changing item. Yasi tells the butler to keep the bag for himself, but Butler Zhang reveals he's already been using it to store all kinds of ingredients from Yongan City for cooking the young miss's meals. Dedicated doesn't even begin to cover it. Yasi tries to convince him to put his heavy metal cooking pot inside the bag too, but Butler Zhang flat out refuses because it would contaminate the pot's flavor. This man has chef principles that even his lord cannot override. Yasi points out he gave the butler 2 bags specifically so he could store meat and vegetables separately. Butler Zhang is nodding vigorously about proper food storage protocol while Yinyu and Biangu just watch the debate. Meanwhile, Biangu and Yin, you are beaming together in a wholesome little duo, and Yisi is just standing there in complete silence, watching his horse bond with his ward like a parent whose kids prefer the babysitter. Yisi laughs and produces a beautiful red storage pouch, asking the butler if this one will be enough for the young miss to carry her own things. Butler Zhang accepts the pouch with genuine gratitude, confirming it's more than sufficient. The warmth between these two tells you they go way back. The butler presents the red pouch to Yinyu, noting that the color matches her rosy cheeks perfectly. The attention to aesthetic detail on a toddler's storage item. Yasi glances down at Yinyu with a challenging little smile, asking if she dares accept it. The dynamic between these two is something else entirely. Butler Zhang scolds Yasi for being too fierce, and Yinyu is internally celebrating because she's figured out the masked man's weakness. He's soft around this old butler, noted and filed away for future exploitation. Yinyu immediately switches to maximum charm mode, calling him Grandpa Butler and asking him to teach her how to use the storage pouch. The old man agrees without a second of hesitation. He demonstrates by opening the pouch, and the food bundles just vanish into it like some kind of pocket dimension. Yin, you just got her first inventory slot, and the loot hoarding potential is limitless. Butler Zhang hangs the pouch around her neck like a necklace and explains it's basically a portable storage space. Anything she can't carry, just toss it in. This child just received the equivalent of a dimensional backpack. Yenyu beams the brightest smile and thanks her grandpa Butler with maximum enthusiasm. The cuteness offensive is operating at peak capacity. The system confirms Butler Zhang is absolutely overjoyed. Adding another 33 points, this old man is becoming a consistent source of passive income just by existing near her. But Yusi sees right through the performance. He calls Yenyu a brat who knows exactly how to act, reminding her that just a few days ago she stabbed a spy without even flinching. Where was this sweet face then? Yacy clears his throat and announces it's getting late, smoothly redirecting the conversation before anyone can dig deeper into the spy stabbing topic. Butler Zhang realizes the young miss must be hungry and offers to cook her a proper meal right away. Yenyu immediately declares she wants to help Grandpa Butler make it, latching on to him before Yici can object. Butler Zhang's smile could melt every snowflake in this entire mountain range. The man is radiating pure grandpa energy at maximum output. Another 33 points from Butler Zhang's happiness. Yin, you doesn't even have to try with this man. He's a walking point dispenser powered entirely by wholesome grandpa love. The three of them set off together against the backdrop of snow-capped mountains, and for a brief moment this actually looks like a wholesome family outing instead of a military camp full of traumatized soldiers. But Yusi isn't about to let Yinyu escape that easily. He stops her cold, asking if she thought she could just leave without today's body tempering session. The man has priorities, and pain is on the schedule. Yinyu tries to resist but gets dragged back anyway. The system picks up a flicker of emotion from Yesi, adding a single point. Even the stoic general can't help reacting to this child's antics. Yenyu turns to Butler Zhang with the most pitiful watery eyes imaginable, asking if he can please wait for her with a meal after she finishes body tempering. This child weaponizes cuteness like a profession. Yesi has heard enough. He grabs Yenyu by the head and physically walks her away while she desperately waves goodbye to the butler over her shoulder. Butler Zhang calls after them, telling her not to worry and that he'll have a hot meal ready when she's done. This man is already fully committed to the grandpa role after approximately 15 minutes. Back inside, Yesi wastes no time calling out her whole act. He tells her she played the obedient child perfectly in front of the butler. Yenyu fires back without missing a beat, asking if Yosi isn't also obedient when the butler tells him what to do. Direct hit. No survivors. Yasi tells her to stop being sharp-tongued and threatens to make her regret it during today's session. The body tempering tub is literally on fire behind him. Yenyu tells him to bring it on because it's just body tempering. She starts chugging the body tempering liquid without hesitation, while Yisi watches with a smile that says she has absolutely no idea what's coming. The pain hits her instantly. Her face scrunches up in genuine agony as the liquid does its work. This is clearly not the same formula she's been used to. She's writhing on the table surrounded by lightning-like energy, crying out that today's liquid is completely different and so much more painful than before. Yisi watches from across the room. She demands to know what he made her drink because every nerve in her body feels like it's on fire. Our girl talked a big game 5 seconds ago and is now facing the consequences in real time. Yesi calmly explains he just adjusted some materials to make the absorption rate 20 times faster, then has the audacity to ask if she wants more. Yin internally curses herself for provoking him. She's wincing through the pain while clutching her new red storage pouch like a security blanket. The little accessory has already become her emotional support item. Yesi leans in with that trademark half smile and asks if she can handle it. There's genuine curiosity behind the teasing, like he's testing her limits on purpose. But then he gently pats her back, easing her through the worst of it. Under all that intimidation, the man is actually looking after her. The sunder energy from this general is off the charts. Yenyu collapses flat on the table, completely spent, breathing heavily as the body tempering finally finishes its cycle. She looks like she just survived a boss fight at level 1. Yasi stands over her asking if she'll dare to challenge him again next time. Yenyu weakly admits she was wrong. Total and complete surrender, for now. But then she pushes herself upright with a defiant little grin and declares she'll absolutely dare next time. This child's spirit is genuinely unbreakable, and you have to respect it. Yasai actually smiles at that, a real one, and the system catches another emotional fluctuation. +1 point. This man's ice fortress is developing cracks, and a toddler is responsible. Yinyu catches that smile and grins right back with all the mischief in the world packed into her tiny face. She knows she's winning this war of attrition. Only one problem. The body tempering liquid has left her absolutely soaked, and she's now dripping all over Yasi's table like a soggy kitten. The puddle is growing. Yasi tells her to go change because she stinks. The system picks up yet another emotional shift from him. The great General Yasi is being slowly domesticated by a 3-year-old and he doesn't even realize it. Yenyu hops off the table and bounces out the door with a cheerful bye-bye, leaving Yasi standing there registering yet another emotional change on the system. She's farming his feelings 1 point at a time and there's nothing he can do about it. Butler Zhang came through with the full spread, and Yin Yu is staring at this table like she just discovered a new world. She goes straight for the braised pork leg, and honestly that thing looks so perfectly glazed it could be in a cooking competition. One bite and her eyes are literally sparkling. This child has ascended to a higher plane of happiness through food alone. She's inhaling rice and declaring that the food in this world isn't bad at all, it's just that nobody here knew how to cook properly until now. Butler Zhang gently tells her to eat slowly since he cooked everything softer for her little stomach. This man is peak grandpa energy personified, and of course someone outside has caught the scent. Byung-gu is pressing his nose against the window like a neglected puppy at a barbecue. Yin Yu is hoarding every last dish for herself, while Byung-gu looms over her shoulder, with maximum betrayal energy. Byung-ga kicks the door open and charges straight in because apparently a horse not getting food immediately is a national emergency. Butler Zhang rushes to calm the chaos, assuring Byung-gu that his meal is already prepared in the kitchen. This old man really made a separate menu for a horse. Byung-gu gives Butler Zhang the most skeptical side-eye a horse has ever produced, while the old man nods politely like he's negotiating a peace treaty. Byung-gu bolts toward the kitchen at full speed, and the system registers 22 points from the horse's excitement. Even the livestock generates passive income for this girl. But then Byung-gu stops and turns around with the most confused expression, like he's suddenly forgotten which way the kitchen even is. Meanwhile, in the soldiers' quarters, the troops are feasting on roasted chicken and getting indignant that Byung-gu also gets gourmet meals. Byung-gu heard every word and is now towering over them like a vengeful war deity. Those soldiers went from talking trash to praying for their lives in about half a second. Now here's where things get interesting. Far away from camp, a heavily guarded convoy is pushing through the snow toward Yexi's territory. Leading the way are attendants on horseback carrying decorative parasols, which tells you this isn't a military operation. This is someone important making a visit. From inside the lead carriage, someone is already complaining about how slow they're moving. Patience clearly isn't this person's strong suit. A frozen soldier explains that Linzhou is the northernmost region of Beiyu, and the snow only gets heavier the closer they get to the border. He suggests changing routes, and there she is. Princess Yu Yang, looking at the frozen wasteland with absolute contempt, calling it a rundown dump. She's got main antagonist energy radiating off every pixel. She decides to reroute to Yongan City instead, and she wants Yexi to kneel before her at the city entrance. This woman came here with a power trip preloaded. The entire convoy shifts course toward Yongan City while one soldier literally collapses face first into the snow. The morale of this escort mission is in the gutter. Back at camp, Yin Yu spots soldiers sprinting across the snow and asks what all the commotion is about. She's standing there like a tiny landlord inspecting her domain. She announces she's back and wants to train with them, and every single soldier immediately bolts in terror. The system is going wild with fear-based points from 4 different people at once, but one brave soul manages to grab her before she can chase anyone down. The sweat on this man's face says he knows exactly what he's dealing with, and Yin Yu immediately reverses the grip with the most demonic grin a toddler has ever produced. This soldier made a critical miscalculation. She launches the guy with a punch that has no business coming from someone who weighs 30 pounds. The body tempering is paying dividends in the most violent way possible. She's standing over the wreckage of grown men calling them all weaklings, while the system cheerfully deposits 99 points from one soldier's extreme pain. This child is an unregulated weapon, and with that beating, the system confirms her total has officially crossed 137,000 points. The grind never stops. After her workout session, Yin Yu is enjoying the snowy scenery when Byung-gu suddenly appears behind her with an urgent look. Without any warning, Byung-gu scoops her up and takes off at full speed. Yin Yu has absolutely no idea what's happening right now. She's clinging on for dear life, wondering what on earth prompted this sudden kidnapping by horse. Where is this animal taking her? Byung-ga gallops straight through camp with Yin Yu bouncing on his back like an unwilling passenger on the world's most chaotic taxi service. Byung-ga skids to a halt and essentially dumps her right at Yexi's doorstep. Delivery complete, no signature required. Yexi catches her and she immediately starts protesting that she's a human being with dignity and they need to stop manhandling her like a sack of rice. Yexi sets her down and asks the group if they remember his instructions, because they're leaving right away. Something is happening and he's already prepared. He tells Butler Zhang his legs can't handle the trip, while Yin Yu pipes up asking where General Fu and Zhou Hong are going, and why everyone seems to be mobilizing. Yexi just smiles with that painted face of his and asks what will happen to her. There's a hint of playfulness behind those words that's hard to read. Butler Zhang immediately panics about Yin Yu riding a horse by herself, asking what if she falls and cracks her skull. Meanwhile, Yin Yu is still on the ground wondering what's going on. Yexi fires back without missing a beat, saying he's more worried her head would break the ground than the other way around. Even Butler Zhang doesn't know how to respond to that. The two maids completely lose it, joking that the young miss is training the iron head technique and her skull could demolish a mountain. They're having way too much fun with this. One maid smacks the other for laughing too hard while insisting it's not that funny. Meanwhile, Yin Yu is watching from behind Yexi's robes, silently judging everyone. Yin Yu peeks out from behind Yixi and fires right back, telling them they're the real iron heads and their skulls could take out a whole cow. Our girl does not take roasting lying down. Yixi shuts the whole comedy show down, telling everyone to stop being annoying and get moving. The man has zero patience for workplace banter. Yin Yu scrambles to her feet and asks the one question nobody's bothered to answer yet. Where exactly are they going? Yixi says 2 words with that signature smirk of his, Yongan City. And just like that, they have a destination. On the road, Biangu is keeping pace with the full-size war horses while being half their size. The text literally labels the big horses as slow and Biangu as super fast. After a while, even Biangu starts yawning. The journey to Yongan City is long enough to bore even a spirit horse. Yin Yu is completely knocked out, sleep mumbling about what Grandpa Butler is going to cook for her today. Even unconscious, food is her #1 priority. She wakes up grumpy, complaining that Yixi won't even let her rest during travel. He's making her drink body-tempering liquid on the road. The man has no concept of a day off. She chugs the liquid with a grimace and wonders just how many premium items this masked man has stored away. The supply seems endless. She notes that this special porcelain bottle preserves the body-tempering liquid even better than the milk pot. Yixi is basically a walking treasure vault, and the chibi version of him sitting in a gold chest confirms it. Energy fully recharged. She's giving a thumbs up with the confidence of someone who just downed a full health potion before a raid. And there it is. The group arrives at the gates of Yongan City, and even through the snow, you can tell this place is way more developed than anyone expected. Zhou Hong is genuinely impressed, pointing out that this place was nothing but wasteland 5 years ago. The transformation is apparently dramatic, but someone in the group can't help muttering that the Emperor is trash for dumping Yixi in this frozen wasteland in the first place. Bold words to say out loud. Then they immediately pivot to sarcastically praising the Emperor's great wisdom for trusting Boss Yi with this desolate land. The backhand compliment game in this group is elite. Yin Yu is piecing things together, realizing the Emperor gifted Yixi the worst possible territory on purpose, and she notes that Zhou Hong just called the Emperor trashy out loud, which is not exactly legal. They ride through the massive stone archway into the city proper, and the scale of the construction makes it clear that Yixi didn't just survive out here. Yin Yu is fascinated by the city layout, noticing all the shops are built on the 2nd floor with the entrances carved from packed snow into staircases. This place adapted to its environment instead of fighting it. She declares this is the pinnacle of human intelligence. And honestly, for a city built in permanent snowfall, the engineering is actually impressive. Even Biangu seems to love the new scenery, trotting along with a little heart floating above him. The whole squad is having a surprisingly good time. And then Yin Yu spots it. Giant roasted chickens hanging from a food stall. Her food radar has locked onto a target, and there is no force in this world that will stop her. She whips out 32 silver coins from her storage pouch like a veteran shopper. She's been saving this money since the army camp, and the moment to spend it has finally arrived. General Fu confirms the roasted chicken here is legendary, and they're lucky there's no line because of the cold. Normally people wait forever for this. Yin Yu turns on the charm and asks General Fu if she wants one too, offering to buy 2, 1 for each of them. The trap is being set and nobody sees it coming. General Fu immediately lights up like a kid on their birthday, and the system cashes in 19 points from her excitement. Yin Yu is generating revenue from acts of perceived generosity. Yin Yu cheerfully confirms the offer is real, while General Fu is already reaching out to seal the deal. These two are bonding over poultry. And there's the twist. Yin Yu extends her palm and tells General Fu that if she wants roasted chicken, she needs to hand over the money first. The scam reveals itself. General Fu's entire soul leaves her body, and the system registers that she's tired of life for 5 more points. Yin Yu is emotionally taxing people for profit, and it's honestly kind of impressive. Yin Yu is internally celebrating how easy General Fu is to manipulate, already planning to milk this relationship for everything it's worth. This toddler runs a social engineering operation. General Fu hands over her coins in defeat, and Yin Yu cheerfully announces they're getting roasted chicken and it's totally free. She hops on Biangu and races to the shop like she's on a timed quest. The horse is equally invested in this food mission. Mission accomplished. She's beaming with the chicken secured, declaring it smells incredible, and Biangu looks equally satisfied with the transaction. She rides back and proudly presents the chicken to General Fu like she's awarding a trophy. The fact that it was bought with the general's own money doesn't diminish the ceremony one bit. She also hands one to Biangu, because apparently the horse gets VIP treatment too. This girl bought multiple chickens with someone else's money and is distributing them like a philanthropist. And naturally she's keeping 2 extra for herself for later. Zhou Hong in the background is watching this entire heist unfold with the expression of a man who's been around grifters before. Zhou Hong asks where his chicken is, and Yin Yu, mid-bite into her own chicken, looks him dead in the eye and asks if he paid. The audacity is breathtaking. She asks it again with the most innocent face while clutching her chicken like a dragon guarding its hoard. General Fu behind her is already laughing. Zhou Hong's will to live visibly exits his body, and the system helpfully logs another 5 points from his existential despair. Yin Yu is farming depression now. Zhou Hong pivots to offering her roasted duck instead, clearly trying to buy his way into the food circle through a different menu item. Yinyu immediately flips the script, accusing him of trying to scam a poor innocent child out of her money. The reversal on this kid is faster than any courtroom lawyer. Zhu Hong shouts that it's his money, but Yinyu corrects him without hesitation, saying it's actually money from the dumb duo. She's reclassified his finances without his consent. Then she hits him with the finishing move, asking if he wants roast duck or not, because she'll decide whether he gets any. The power dynamics have completely inverted. Zhu Hong is internally questioning how a toddler outmaneuvered him this badly, and the system dings 3 more points from his confusion. The man is losing on every front. General Fu can't take the chaos anymore and volunteers to just buy everything herself. She's throwing money at the problem to make it stop. General Fu charges off toward the market while Yinyu and Zhu Hong watch her go. Yinyu is thinking, since when do people willingly offer to pay for everything? Zhu Hong suddenly starts loudly praising General Fu as the strongest and most generous female general in the army, and Yinyu's internal alarm immediately goes off. Why is the old fox being complimentary all of a sudden? Yinyu decides to just ride the wave and enthusiastically agrees that yes, General Fu is the most generous person ever. If flattery gets them free food, she's all in. General Fu, completely buttered up by the praise, promises to buy every single delicious thing in the city. Meanwhile, Yinyu internally notes this old fox wouldn't do anything without benefiting himself, so she'll play along. Yinyu is doing a victory dance while the system logs 6 more points from General Fu's happiness. She tells the general to take her time shopping and they'll wait at the residence. What a con artist. Zhu Hong acts utterly exasperated while General Fu confidently assures she has everything handled. Both of these adults just got played by a 3-year-old and are acting like it's normal. With General Fu on her shopping spree, Yinyu and Zhu Hong continue exploring the city. The mountain backdrop behind the traditional buildings is genuinely gorgeous. Zhu Hong starts playing tour guide, pointing out the Mengshu Pavilion where kids under 7 come to learn reading, writing, and the basics of cultivation. Yisi built an entire education system out here. Then there's Yongan School for kids over 7, where students split into martial arts or academic tracks. This isn't just a military outpost. Yisi built an entire functioning society. Yinyu asks how much all this education costs, and Zhu Hong casually drops that it's completely free. Every kid in Linzhou can study without paying a single coin. Zhu Hong explains that Yisi believes everyone needs education or their future is limited, and if the country won't provide it, he'll do it himself. This man is running a welfare state in a frozen wasteland out of pure principle. And that's when Yinyu drops the biggest question of the episode. His mindset is too modern. Did Yisi actually transmigrate to this world too? Because that would change absolutely